right, commissioners, you think we've got enough to get this party started? Board members. I don't call you commissioners, man. You'll always be Commissioner Richardson to me. Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to this meeting of the Blueprint Intergovernmental Agency Board of Directors. We're going to call this meeting to order. Commissioners, as a reminder, we want everybody to conduct themselves as professionally as possible and treat each other with as much respect as possible. I would ask you to please try and let's control the flow of conversation by directing your comments through me. We all know the drill. Also just wanted to make a note, we have a hard stop at 5 o'clock for our public hearing, and that only gives us 2 hours. So I think we've got director discussion items on this agenda. So just keep that in mind. I would like us to, we're going to have a hard stop at 5 o'clock, no matter where we're at in conversation. So just please keep that in mind. All right. Let's see. Am I going right? We're doing agenda modifications first, right, Mr. Or do we have to do the vice chair thing?
We can do agenda modifications.
Okay. So, Mr. Director White, let's start with agenda modifications.
Mr. Chair, there are no agenda modifications.
Okay, we're going to go to citizens to be heard on non-agenda items.
We have one speaker. That's Brian Stringer. Name and address for the record. You have 3 minutes.
All right, thank you. Good afternoon. My name is Brian Stringer, and I reside at 8479 Southern Park Drive right here in Tallahassee. I serve as the Executive Director of Capital Area Justice Ministry, and I'm a proud member of Jacob Chapel Baptist Church. This afternoon, I come before you not just as a professional, but as a brother in this community, a witness to his pain and a keeper of his hope. And I want to say something simple but sacred. Thank you. To every commissioner, to every official here today, to every administrative staff who've labored faithfully behind the scenes, we at Capital Area Justice Ministry say thank you. Thank you for your courage, your clarity, and your compassion. Back in May, you took a defining step. You voted to allocate $250,000 in OEV funds to launch an affordable housing gap financing incentive program. That wasn't just a budget item, it was a moral investment. And now through Agenda Item 5, you're taking it further, ensuring those funds go toward rental housing properties that include units of very low and extremely low income families. Let's be real. That means working people who clean our schools, care for our elders, transport our children, can finally have access to stable, affordable housing in the community they already serve. Because right now in Leon County, thousands of families are spending more than half of their income on rent. That's not sustainable, that's survival. And survival should never be a standard in a city this blessed. I once heard a public official say, we don't want homeless people on the streets of Tallahassee. Well, let me be the first to say, we agree. Neither do we. And with this plan you put in motion, we now have a path to ensure that doesn't happen. Not through punishment or policing, but through prevention, compassion, and policy that protects the vulnerable. Let's also be clear. The #1 cause of homelessness is not addiction, it's not laziness, it's lack of affordable housing. And today you're saying we will not build our prosperity on the backs of people who can't afford a home. Everyone deserves a place to belong. At CAJM, our mission is to build people power for justice. We're not here to divide. We're here to unite around what's right. We fully support your commitment to go beyond the minimum, to protect the most vulnerable, and to keep affordability in perpetuity. We're also looking forward to the city. And before I close, I ask you to please don't mistake our cries for aggression. What you hear are voices of not hostility, it's hurt, because some of us know the names behind the numbers. We've prayed with the mothers whose sons sleep in cars. We fed the neighbors who turned invisible. We don't speak from a distance, we speak from wounds. So yes, we raise our voices, not in anger, but in anguish.
30
not
seconds.
In rage, but in responsibility. And yet, even in our pain, we're still here to build. In Genesis 11:6, it says this, behold, there were one people, and they all have the same language, and this is what they begin to do. Now, nothing which they plan to do will be impossible for them. When people move in unity, nothing is impossible. So let's build not just housing, but dignity. Not just shelters, but beloved community. Let's build something so rooted in righteousness, so built on vision, so unified in spirit.
Your time has expired.
Thank you very much. God bless y'all.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Director White, any more? Still on citizens?
That was the
That was
final
the last
speaker.
citizen.
Commissioners, we're now on informational items and presentations. Mr. White, you want to?
We have no presentations.
Okay, sweet. Moving right along, y'all. Excuse me, I've been having a little cough lately. We are now on our consent agenda, Commissioners.
Mr. Chair, move consent.
All right, we've got a motion and a second for consent. Motion made by Commissioner Maddox, seconded by Commissioner Williams-Cox. Any discussion? Seeing no discussion, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Good? Okay. All right, passes unanimously. Thank you, everybody. We're now on general business. Before we get to this item, Commissioners, I neglected at the beginning of our meeting, which was so quickly a few minutes ago, to recognize the contributions of our outgoing chair, Commissioner Diane Williams-Cox. I have the great privilege of following in her footsteps and being the chair of our board for the next several months or through the end of the cycle. So wanted to thank Commissioner Williams-Cox for her service as chair of our board and guiding us through some very productive conversations. I think we've really created some good policy and some good outcomes in your tenure. So thank you, Commissioner Williams-Cox. Want to say anything?
I'd like to recognize
Okay. Well, there you go. All right. Do you need to introduce the item, Director, Mr. White?
I can provide a very quick.
Go ahead.
Per the agency bylaws, at the first meeting of the agency after the 1st of June of each year, a new vice chairperson shall be elected. Because the chairmanship rotates between the city and county, the person selected tonight, elected to be the vice chair, will need to be a city commissioner.
All right, Commissioners, we understand how this goes. It has to be a city commissioner. So, Madam Previous Past Chair, Mr. Maddox says that better than me. I don't know how to phrase that right. Is that right? You have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and thank you for your kind words. I appreciate that, and you were an excellent vice chair. You know, we just go back and forth with this, you know, Admiration Society. I would like to make the motion that the Dean of the City Commission, Commissioner Richardson, will be nominated to serve as the vice chair of this body.
All right, we've got a motion and a second from Mayor Daley. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all those in...
Nope.
Oh, I'm sorry, Commissioner, I'm sorry. I'm new to this, so I guess raise those placards if you want to hop in. Commissioner O'Keefe, go right ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And I do want to agree and thank past chair for your service this year. I do not envy chairing blueprint meetings, so thank you for guiding us through that. I do think Director Richardson would make an excellent chair. My discussion item is here that I think we also have Director Porter, who would make an excellent vice chair, who has not had the opportunity to take that leadership role. And we have had, if I remember my years right, Commissioner Richardson did an excellent job, I think 2 or 3 years ago. And so I would like us to consider perhaps a friendly amendment to give a new director an opportunity to show that leadership role.
All right, so you want to amend the motion?
Asking for a friendly amendment.
Okay.
Thank you for offering it, but I will not accept this.
All right, so amendment is not accepted. We are back on the original motion. Is there any other discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Passes unanimously. Congratulations, Commissioner. Yes, sir. Thank you. All right. All right, Commissioners. Wow, that was it. So we're on director discussion items, is that right? All right. We are on director discussion items. Mr. Caban, you are up. Moving right along.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and
Yes, sir.
I would like to also echo the sentiments of Director Williams-Cox and her service as the chairwoman the last year. I don't think there was any any arguments amongst this board last year, and I thought it was very cordial meetings, and so I appreciate your leadership. Directors, I want to bring up, I know there's been a lot of conversations amongst the City of Tallahassee and the county in regards to the fire services assessment and the ongoing disagreements thereof. However, I think it's important that we can acknowledge that even though both bodies disagree, that we can continue to put public safety and our first responders first. And originally in our county workshop meeting where the discussions took place, I proposed an idea of supplementing the funding of fire stations 15 and 17 through infrastructure funds and Blueprint. In the meeting, I discussed it with the county administrator, and he said in the meeting that this would be an appropriate use of infrastructure funds. And I also think this would be in the best interest.
Of course they are.
Commissioner Command, hold on 1 second while they fix that audio problem. Y'all,
Got you in surround sound.
somebody's in surround sound. Are we good? I think we're good.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Commissioner Command.
And so I think that when you look at the purpose of the infrastructure dollars, it was to provide community-wide infrastructure. It's a sales tax that's there to provide community-wide infrastructure that can benefit both the city and the county. It's an existing funding mechanism in place. And so by the way of a motion, I would like to move that we have an agenda item come back at in the next meeting to evaluate supplementing funding for stations 15 and 17.
All right. We have a motion from Commissioner Command to have an agenda item come back, looking at supplementing the funding for the stations that the city is requesting.
Yes, sir.
Infrastructure dollars.
Stations 15, 17.
All right.
Second.
All right, we got a second from Commissioner Matlow. We are in discussion. Commissioner Command, did you want to?
Yeah, I just want to say that part of the analysis, I imagine will come back and look at, is there funding available? Will it impact other projects? And I assume staff will kind of draw that up in the next agenda if the motion passes. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
All right, Commissioner Williams-Cox.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I could not support that. Blueprint, I did not vote for Blueprint to build fire stations. We have a mechanism for building fire stations, and it is, and to support fire services. And that's the mechanism that we should use. For the less than the price of a Happy Meal. I don't know how much Happy Meals are nowadays, but I know at rallies you can get a $5 Glorilla bag for $5. For less than that, we could do all the things that we'd asked that we could do. And I don't think that the residents or the citizens had an opportunity to weigh in. I know we represent them, but no one has said to me that they're not willing to add less than $5 to their fire services fee to do these things, because these fire stations, especially the one on Lake Bradford, has been promised for decades, and it's going to serve more people in the county than in the city, or depending on where the services are. And then the one up on the north end, to expand it. When I first ran for office in 2008, and I met with the fire union, they told us then, that was that long ago, that they were behind in fire stations at that time. And so we have a mechanism put in place to help us meet those needs. And the only reason we're not doing that is because of a disagreement over less than $5. Less than $5, not per person, per household. And I just think that we should not burden Blueprint with that. Blueprint projects have already been defined, they've already been funded, the people agreed to them. We need to deal with our fire services fee as we have done in the years in the past years. So I could not support that.
All right, thank you, Commissioner Williams-Cox. Anybody else? Oh, sorry, Mr. Vice Chair, go ahead. Oh.
I can't support the motion. I thank you, Commissioner Caban, because in 2014, when I came to the commission, we heard a report concerning the fire services fee. And what we heard then was that in the area where we're proposing the new fire station on Lake Bradford and FAMU Way, there were more calls for service in that area and longer response time. And so from that time on, I began to advocate for that fire station. I started with Blueprint 2000, y'all, so I've been around this process a long time. I was vice chair of the sales tax extension with our Leader Steve Evans, our chairman. And I can tell you, we went to the public for projects that would address infrastructure needs in this community, not those projects that were construction that could be paid from or supported from other resources, such as the fire services fee. And so I think it would be less than keeping with what we promised the voters when they voted for this sales tax extension, voted for it originally and then the extension later, keeping faith with them and making sure that these projects that they agreed to, that we keep faith with them and making sure that those projects are completed. And so, and I don't know of anybody during the entire time that I have been involved with Blueprint and Blueprint 2000 that have said they would like to see a fire station built using Blueprint funds. It was always my impression that the voters of this community wanted those monies dedicated solely to infrastructure projects. So that's the reason why I couldn't support the motion as well, Mr. Chairman. Thank you.
You're the chair, you pick. Thank you for the motion. I seconded this because I think it's worthy of discussion. I think it's important that Fire Station 15 gets built. We've been waiting a long time to get a fire station delivered on Lake Bradford, and due to the infighting between our two boards, that project has come to a standstill. Earlier this year, the county made the city an offer to fully fund Fire Station 15, 17, the equipment and the pay raises needed for our firefighters, and which frankly was never really presented to the city commission in its entirety. We voted to move forward with a rate increase. The mayor said the county doesn't understand, and what happened there, the conversation has just evolved into a point where public safety is at risk in our community, and our elected leaders need to do something about it. At the last city commission meeting, I'm not willing to violate an interlocal agreement with the county. We're here as Blueprint today based on an interlocal agreement. I think when you put your name on something, you sign it, you should do what that agreement says to do. So I second this motion today because I wish we would sit down as a group and figure this out. I wish we could go back to the first conversation and honor the compromise that was offered for just a couple of years to fulfill our contractual obligations and to fulfill our obligations to the city of Tallahassee and our residents that depend on these fire services and that depend on these stations being built. I still have hope we can do that. The year is still not over. We can figure this out without having to come to Blueprint, by having open and honest conversations with our counterparts at the county and find funding solutions for the future. I'm disheartened that we're not there at the table to even have those conversations today. So if Blueprint's the only path we have to fund this fire station, so I'll support the motion. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Commissioner Matlow. Commissioner Maddox.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Yes, sir.
I appreciate the motion in the second. I think it's done in the right spirit. Try to move these projects down the road, but I think it may be the cart before the horse. As I remember the conversation that we were having, there was a lot of cost that was associated with the increase in that fee. And those two stations were a piece of it. And with no increases at all in the city looking at what they have to look at, what I get concerned about is how do they prioritize, even if they say we were to pass this today and it comes back and they get the money, how do they prioritize that piece over the other things that they may have to do? And so I like what Commissioner Matlow said in that this needs to be something that's worked out between the city and the county before it's considered to take money off the table for Blueprint. Something that we can come to an agreement on, to say that the city would be in agreement on it. And as I see it right now, I see at least 3, I'm guessing, commissioners that would not be in agreement and using Blueprint monies specifically on the city side, for the building of Station and 17. And so, Commissioner Caban, I wanted to ask that maybe the motion change a little bit, not to bring back an agenda item, but maybe even at the city and county level, that we discuss maybe coming to the table and talking about what the future of fire services looks like in the city of Tallahassee and Leon County. I just don't think we're at a place, as far as our negotiations and agreements are concerned, to be able to make a decision about allocating blueprint money when the city and the county don't seem to be on the same page when it comes to it. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Yes, sir. All right. Commissioners, yes, Commissioner Proctor. I'm sorry, Commissioner Richard, you were up again. Do you want to?
No, I'm
Okay,
sorry.
okay.
Chairman,
Commissioner Proctor, go
I wanted
ahead.
to ask Commissioner Caban, was he asking for an informational item, or are you trying for us to take the checkbook out and write a check for this fire station off of the pool of money that comes out of Blueprint?
Mr. Chair, if I may.
Yes, sir.
The purpose of the motion is to ask for an agenda item to come back with an analysis to see, is there funding available with increased revenues? If we have increased revenues in sales tax, what we've seen recently, anytime that there's an increase in sales tax, we just tack it on to these road projects, right? And so versus if we have an increase in sales tax revenue come through, potentially we can allocate it to other infrastructure projects such as fire stations. So it's purely an analysis to come back with staff running their, looking at options. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Mr. Chairman, I believe that fire services already have a taxing source. They're already a tax that is already designated. This would be a second source of tax money to support fire. But I'd be willing to look at it for the purposes of Station 17 or Station Lake Bradford Road. Even though it has its own source, this would be an additional look. Commissioner Caban is asking that if there are surplus dollars or if our penny performs exceedingly well, that from that surplus, could we look at designating a part of it to that? And I'm willing to do that. Thank you, Commissioner.
Thank you, Commissioner Proctor. Commissioner Cummings, you recognize.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mr. Chair and Commissioner Caban, I appreciate the motion. I believe Commissioner Caban is trying to seek a catalyst so that will bring the city and the county closer on this issue of providing the provision of fire services for our citizens. In that respect, I don't think it's a bad idea. I think we have to be innovative. We have to think outside of the box. From what I understand, he's saying bring an agenda item back, not put money on the table right now, but bring it back. Let's do an analysis. Let's look at it. And let's see if in doing that analysis, in doing so, we as a body, as a blueprint body, can come together with all the representatives from the city and from the county in a responsible manner and see what we can do to move forward with our disagreement as it relates to a fire services fee and increasing the fee and recognizing the fine language in our agreement, in our interlocal agreement that we have with both entities. I think if this would pass and we have an agenda item coming back, I think that would give us an opportunity to look at several sides. And perhaps it might come back with the recommendation that it's not a proper use of blueprint money. Or we might vote that it is a proper use because we're looking at the health, safety, and welfare of the citizens of Tallahassee and of Leon County. But I think looking at it from a holistic standpoint, if it would tend to pull the issues together, pull us closer together on the issues that are at hand, force us to look at the interlocal agreement, force us to look at whether or not we're in compliance with the agreement, whether or not one party is out of compliance, whether or not another one is out of compliance, just where we are. And I think as elected officials, we owe that to our constituents, not to just brush over an agreement, but to look at the specific language of the agreement and that make sure that we are in good faith representing the public interest, the best interest of our citizens. So I don't think it's a bad idea, Commissioner Caban. And at this point, I'll listen to some of the other people around the dais, but at this point, I will support the motion.
Thank you, Commissioner Cummings. I've got Commissioner Porter next. Did you want to get in? Okay, and then Commissioner Minor, and then I'll come to Director Calder. I'll let them go first. Commissioner Porter.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'll support the motion. I think it's worth having the discussion and giving the public the opportunity to weigh in one way or the other. I hope that this issue will be resolved by then. And I wanted to ask perhaps Director Calder or maybe the maker of the motion, our next meeting isn't until March 2026, or when is it? November. Oh, okay. So that's just, okay. So it's sooner than I thought. I was looking at the schedule. Okay. Because if it were just for March, then I would say I'm not sure how that timeline works. But that answers my question. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Commissioner Porter. Commissioner Minor, and then we're going to, I think Director Calder would like to offer some words. Yes, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I appreciate it. I usually support requests for more information. I think it's always a good thing for us to have more information, more transparency. And I appreciate Commissioner Caban's attempt to look for creative ways to make it work. But at the same time, I know that Blueprint's funds are entirely allocated. If I can ask a question to our staff, please, to Artie.
Sure.
Mr. White, I mean, in terms of additional revenue that's not allocated, what's your best estimate right now on what we have coming up?
Actually, I believe Autumn Calder will probably be able to answer that a
Director
little bit
Calder,
better, but
you want to let her
I know
jump
it's not
in?
much.
Director Calder, go ahead.
Sure, yeah. Thanks. Yeah, I guess I want to talk to the revenues a little bit. Yeah, we're looking at the next 5 years. It's hard to predict what will happen over the next 15 years or less in the sales tax program. But we are allocating the funds that we expect to go to the projects that we already have underway. So yes, the revenues have been allocated to the projects that we have already. But if you don't mind, I had a couple of things I just wanted, hopefully will be helpful in this conversation, just to provide a little clarity.
Can we let Commissioner Minor finish and then you
Sure,
can do
sure.
that overarching?
So thank you very much, Ms. Calder. I appreciate it. And, it's in our materials. We've got 17 projects that are either in construction right now or planned for starting construction in fiscal year 26. Now, what that means is that all the money spent on PD&E and design has already been expended. And the money's been allocated, contractors have been hired for these projects. I feel pretty confident, unless Ms. Calder can expand upon this when she speaks again, but I'm pretty confident we do not have any funds available. And I do not want to get to the point of discussion, personally, this is my opinion, I do not want to get to the point of discussion where we actually start thinking about blueprint projects that we deallocate to pay for fire service, pay for fire station upgrades. That's not what we're here to do. We spent millions of dollars on these projects to get them up to this point, and we're committed to spend millions of dollars going forward on construction projects that we've been working on for years. So I really do appreciate Commissioner Caban's looking under every stone to try to make something work, but I can't support the agenda, the motion for that reason. We don't have any funds available. They're already allocated. We've already have sunk costs in the projects that we have on our project list right now to take money away from projects that are already committed. Number one, I think, is a misuse of government funds. But then even having us come to a future meeting and discuss which projects are going to be defunded to spend money on fire stations, I think is not the right approach. We need fire stations 17 and 15, but I don't think expending blueprint funds, considering blueprint funds that have already been allocated is the way to do it. So I won't be in favor of the motion. Thank you.
Mr. Chair, if I may.
Yeah, go ahead, Commissioner Cummings. Commissioner Caban.
Commissioner Minor, I don't, maybe you misheard what I said, but I didn't say defunding any projects. specifically what I said, if there's an excess of funding. Listen, if Florida State football continues to win these football games, and every football game is going to be sold out the next, and we have potentially even a playoff game here, I'd be willing to bet that revenues in our community would be higher. And what I proposed is taking excess funds, so we didn't have to defund projects, and potentially moving it to infrastructure projects, just as fire stations and public safety are important projects that benefit the entire community. And so I just want to be clear on that. What we saw last 2 budget cycles is we had excess funding. Staff was automatically allocating it to these existing projects, right? And I think that we can do some great projects where funding currently exists, but we could peel some funding away with excess revenue to support the fire station. So thank you, Mr. Chair. I just wanted to clear that up for Commissioner Minor.
Thank you, Commissioner Command. Before I come to you, I want to say something, and then I'm going to let you answer all of our questions in one fell swoop. Commissioners, I think that I would say unequivocally now, I'm not defunding any projects, funding any new projects, right? But, and I think we can say that. I think you can say unequivocally that's not on the table. But I do appreciate Commissioner Caban's motion. I tend to want to support it, not necessarily because I think it's the end-all, be-all, but clearly we've had some disagreements as boards. This agenda item, it may come back and say, there's no money for this, forget about it. But it could also serve as a bridge over troubled waters, right? In which we have had acrimonious conversations from across the street. Maybe this is a bridge to have those conversations around the table and provide some solutions, and it very well may be that we don't have money. You never know. Maybe we do have a little money. I mean, I think it's worth exploring. Commissioner Minor, in the same way, I tend to agree with agenda, informational items coming back. I would also tell you guys, like I have before, right now, I ain't defunding no projects. I'm not even considering it. If it comes back, and Autumn's going to tell us probably right now, there's no chance. But I'm willing to see it because I think that, my wonderful colleague here mentioned the divorce word at the city commission. I don't want a divorce. You know what I'm saying?
Well, hey, right.
I know. It's
Give me the money.
It's usually my fault. But I want us to figure out solutions to our problems, because at the end of the day, who gets hurt in a divorce? The children, right? The community, the people that we are entrusted with serving. We have an obligation to serve them as best as we can. And Commissioner Cummings articulated this very well at our county commission meeting, trying to get us to come to some agreement. So I think that this might be the vessel for that. I appreciate Commissioner Caban offering it. I would be willing to support it strictly as an informational item with that caveat that there's no way I'm defunding any current projects. So with that, I'll go to Director Calder and let you kind of give us the spiel. Thank you.
I want to help with just process and a little bit of history. Statutorily, yes, you can use the 1% infrastructure surtax for the construction of a fire station by statute. To Commissioner Richardson's point, no, that was not something that was discussed in 2014 as this was placed on the ballot for the essential sales tax. Historically, the Blueprint program has not funded the new construction of public buildings. Of course, we did have the $3.8 million renovation to the Animal Service Center, but that was a renovation to an existing building. I also want to mention that, and this is something that we, of course, would put in an agenda item, you have to go through the substantial amendment process to add this project to the Blueprint list of projects. And I know all of you around the table know this process well at this point, but it's worth reiterating. That requires the 2 public hearings as well as the supermajority vote for the county commissioners and the city commissioners and mayor at that supermajority level, so it would have to pass that threshold. And then at that point, you would have, if that were to pass, then you would have the discussion about where does this project come in on the priority list. At this point, the projects have been prioritized, so staff would assume that it would be at the very end, and that would be after all of the other projects have been funded and potentially constructed. So at the IA level, you would have to have a discussion about whether or not you want to advance any funds into that project, into the fire station project. And that would require looking at pulling funds from existing or ongoing projects. At this point, the revenues that we expect to receive by the agency are dedicated to the projects that we already have. And that's what I wanted to do.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Real thorough analysis. We don't even have to wait for the next. Mr. Chair.
I feel like you might be right. Commissioner Maddox, I saw you first, then Commissioner Cummings, unless you want to defer.
Thank you. In order to not waste time, I do it, like I said before, I do appreciate the motion that Commissioner Band brought forward, but, I mean, Autumn just said that we can use the money. We haven't used the money for public buildings in the past, but we can. And it would take a substantial amendment in order to do that. What I heard most of my county colleagues say is that it would be an opportunity for us to get around the table and have a conversation and hear public input about how they felt about the idea of public service and how we're public safety, particularly fire, and how we're handling it. But I don't see this as necessarily moving down the ball down the road when we're going to find out information that we already know. And so, if we're going to do anything today, and I have a question for Autumn. We would have to start the substantial amendment process at some point in order for us to consider it, correct?
Yeah, you would need the substantial
That's
amendment.
a simple request by the board to start the process, correct?
Yes.
And it takes a majority of the city and county commissioners, a supermajority of both city and county in order for it to pass, correct?
Correct.
And before it came to us, it would go to the Citizens Advisory Committee, correct?
That's correct.
And they would have a vote and a say and be public input and all that good stuff. Yeah. I'm not going to vote for the motion on the floor because I think that we already know what's going to come back, what information that we'll get. She just told us. I think if you want to consider anything, let's go ahead and just throw it out there. Are we going to do the substantial amendment or not? Make that motion. See how it goes. If it passes, it passes. I guarantee you this. By the time we got to the point of us actually considering it as a full board and having to pass by a city majority, supermajority of city and county, I just don't think we can be there. We would be there. And I've said it before. I've said it again. I'm not one much for going down through processes and having people get excited about stuff that we know unequivocally we're not ready for yet. When we get to a point that we're ready for it, the city and counties had conversations, and I said this before, and we all on the same page, then maybe, but right now, we can't even get on the same page as individual bodies. You think we're going to come here and have a conversation about it and move forward? I just don't think so. So I'm going to vote against the motion on the floor. I think the right motion to consider right now is if we start the substantial amendment process. If that's the motion on the floor, I may consider doing that after hearing conversation from the rest of the board. But I don't want to bring it back, have a whole bunch of folks thinking and be in the newspaper that we're considering it, knowing that there's so many steps in this process that we got to go through before we get there. Let's just cut through the chase. Are we going to do it? Are we going to start the substantial amendment process, or are we not? Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Yes, sir. Commissioner Cummings.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. First of all, just for clarification with Autumn and maybe Artie as well, would the substantial amendment process go before the agenda item, coming back, analyzing the appropriateness or not, or the funding or what have you?
It makes the most sense to do an agenda item that discusses the process first, and also brings back information probably about the prioritization, where this would fall. I imagine that that would be the most helpful in making your decision about whether or not to add this to the list. But of course, whatever the board wants to do.
And procedurally, that's generally what we have done, right? Have the agenda item first and then.
And then just a question about the director discussion agenda item.
Yes, in addition, if I may, Mr. Chair. It is in line and consistent with your agenda development policy that if there are any sort of policy changes that are brought up during director discussion, which is the part of the agenda that we're in now, that it has to be unanimous before you do anything that changes policy. So Usually, our procedure, your procedure by this board has been to bring back an agenda item, get a full analysis of the legal implications, the implications to various projects, the prioritization that Director Calder has just mentioned, and then for the body to vote on whether or not to initiate the substantial amendment process.
So,
Thank you,
I was
Mr.
going
Chair.
to say, just for clarity,
Okay.
Madam Attorney, so you're saying that initiating a substantial amendment process would not be allowable under our rules in this discussion time?
It would not be consistent with your practice and
Gotcha.
procedure.
Okay.
In addition, your policy does state, your agenda development policy requires that if there's any change in policy, which is moving toward this substantial amendment process, that it does require a unanimous vote. So if it's unanimous, you can
Gotcha.
you can do it. It doesn't sound like that is the case, but following your practice and procedures, at least since I've been here, it's been the circumstance where you have staff bring back an agenda item that lays out all of the specifics, because once you start that process, and we do two public hearings, and so forth, you need to know what that change is going to look like. What is going to be the impact of starting that process?
Okay, thank you.
On point,
Yes.
is that what you're asking for?
No, I'm just asking for an analysis to come back.
That's what you were asking for.
Yeah.
Commissioner Cummings, go ahead.
Yeah, thank you. And so part of those specifics would be the funding, am I correct? And its effect or not on the overall budget and the money that's projected for the next 15 years or so. That would be part of the analysis, correct? Okay, so, you know, at this point, I'm certainly not advocating or even suggesting that we defund any projects, because we've got our projects etched in stone. We just voted on a balanced budget that includes projects that are ongoing, some that will be started this year. We've got one that was completed this year, and I'm very, very proud of that. But in supporting the motion, I don't believe at this meeting any of us are advocating defunding any of the projects that are on the table. It's just, I see the motion as perhaps exploratory. Perhaps some members of this body might have already, might already be predisposed to saying, no, we're not going to do it. But I think an analysis where everything is put on the table, including funding, I think that would be of assistance to me, at least. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Commissioner Cummings. I got Commissioner Minor, then Commissioner Porter. You're good? Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Commissioner Minor, you want to? Oh, I'm sorry, Commissioner Richardson.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I appreciate it. And Commissioner Gavan, thank you for clarifying that. You did say that the first time, but there's some complexity in here because we all know construction costs have been skyrocketing. While the rate of that increase for materials is starting to slow a little bit, labor costs are starting to go through the roof for a whole host of reasons, which we've all read about in the papers, right? So the costs for our projects that are currently baked in, that are on our project list, are likely to be increasing rather substantially in the next few years. So if we do have unanticipated revenue coming in, that's great because it probably will help us cover those increased costs. All that being said, I hear what Commissioner Gavan is saying. If we have excess revenue, in my view, what I hope he's saying is that if we have excess revenue, in addition to revenue that would account for the increased cost of our existing projects, then that would be something I could definitely have an open mind about. But I don't think we're there yet. We don't, as Ms. Calder has said, we don't anticipate revenue to come in that's greater than what is required for our projects. So I really I like the idea of Commissioner Gavan's, trying to look for every single way for us to fund the fire stations. But I just don't want us to go down a path that we know is a dead end, at least at this point. So I know what you're trying to do. I respect it. But at this point, I'm going to vote no on this motion because we don't anticipate revenue increases to come in at the level that would make this possible. If we get through another fiscal year, and it turns out we do win a national championship, we do have that type of revenue coming in, at that point, I'm certainly willing to take a look at that and reconsider. But at this point, there's no light at the end of this tunnel. And I don't think it makes sense for us to go down this path just yet. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Commissioner Minor. All right, Commissioners, seeing no other discussion. I'm sorry, Commissioner Rich, I knew I was forgetting somebody.
Thank you.
Oh, I'm sorry, and Commissioner Matlow will be right next.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Again, I want to emphasize the fact that I've been involved in this program since its very beginning. And I can tell you, in each instance, Blueprint 2000, the sales tax extension, we talked about infrastructure projects. And it didn't include a fire station or improvements to a fire station. It was, we went to the public and asked them to support and continue to support a sales tax increase for infrastructure projects. Now, we can't sit here and say, oh, well, yeah, that's what they said back then. But we've got some different ideas about where this should go and how these projects should be funding. If we were going to do anything in that respect, I think we should look at, because I'm sure that there could be infrastructure projects out there that were not included in the original blueprint, but may be needed now. I know there was some talk about putting a flyover at the intersection of Mahan and Capitol Circle. I don't know that that would come out of blueprint necessarily, but that is an example of how in the future we may need dollars, additional dollars for infrastructure projects, which we told the community we would use this money for. So I just haven't been there and been a part of the votes that were taken to approve certain projects, infrastructure projects. I'm telling you, I could not support this motion. And so I would encourage you all to keep faith with the voters, keep faith with those members who sat on the original blueprint board and the sales tax extension board. Keep faith with them and continue to fund infrastructure projects in this community.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Chair. Commissioner Matlow.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and I'll be brief. I continue to, and I respect what Commissioner Richardson's saying. We could open up to 1 million different projects and always be reshuffling the deck, and this isn't my preferred route to go at all, but I'd like to keep the conversation open. I may not support it when it comes back, depending on where we're at, but the reality of the situation is these fire stations have already been delayed a full year based on our actions. Nothing's getting started in 2026 based on the decisions that we've made at our boards. How do we get it back on track? I agree with Commissioner Maddox that the likelihood of success at Blueprint probably isn't going to happen, but I would like to keep that option on the table. I think the best option is meeting collectively as a city and the county. Once again, 2026 is a wash. We've already had that fight, but how are we going to put the plane back together as we go into 2027 to get these fire stations back on track? And I think it's going to take compromise. It's going to take listening to each other. We have to shut down the steamroller and see how we can protect the taxpayer dollars, the fee-paying dollars, as well as our longstanding agreements with each other. If we can do all of that, we don't need to come to Blueprint. We just need to be reasonable adults and get this done. And where we're at now, we have an entire year to do that. We can't do it in 2026. The ship already sailed. So I'm going to support this motion to keep this option on the table. But I tend to agree with Commissioner Maddox. I'm not convinced it's going anywhere. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Clarification?
Yes, sir.
Commissioner Command, I said I wouldn't support it if it didn't include the processes that would start a substantial amendment process. You said that wasn't in the item. I'm asking staff, if the motion passes, included in the analysis would be what the process will look like. So thereby, if during that meeting, someone wants to make a motion to start the substantial amendment process, they could.
That's correct. We would bring back the agenda item and it would explain the process in there. That would be a decision made by the board. At that time.
Given that, Mr. Chair, I will support it, but again, I'll go back to my original statement, Commissioner Matlow, you said it. This is a city-county issue, where city and county need to come to the table, sit, have a conversation about how we move forward. Not just on this year, but how we move forward into the future. Commissioner Williams-Cox had talked about even going ahead and exercising the 18-month cancellation of the contract altogether. If we're going to do that, we need to talk about, well, do we sit down at the table? Do we come up with, what the new contract looks like after 18 months, or if the city's even willing to consider? Now, this is real corny, but I would almost rather have the motion had been a letter from the chair of Blueprint asking the city and the county to consider sitting down in a meeting and having a conversation about how we move forward into fire services. And then after that conversation, if that conversation went to a certain place, then we would come back here and have a conversation, have the actual agenda item come back. So, in the effort to keep with my corniness, Commissioner Caban, would you consider a friendly amendment that the chair of the board of Blueprint send a letter to city and county asking them to consider a joint meeting to talk about fire services in the future?
Can we vote on this? So I don't disagree with your sentiment, right, Commissioner Maddox? From my understanding, for purposes of, based on questions I've asked with staff in the past, it's a different interlocal agreement with fire services, not tied to Blueprint. So I just don't know, like, if it's the right posture to go through that. However, I'm open if both boards want to sit down together next spring and talk through this. I'm open to do that. Honestly, I still have a lot of questions about the fire services fee that hasn't been answered.
It is a whole different interlocal agreement. But when that interlocal agreement has caused us to have a conversation about how we get involved in the fire services, I think it becomes Blueprint's business. So.
Commissioner, out of my respect for you, I'll include that in my motion if you want to do that. Let's do that.
Gentlemen, can I ask a question of the attorney?
Yes.
Do I, as Blueprint Chair, have the power to compel, or not compel, but even ask? Shouldn't that be a county decision individually and a city decision individually?
You're correct, Mr. Chair. There's no authority for this IA board to direct, compel, two other jurisdictions to get together and resolve the issue related to the fire fee.
So be it. I support it.
Okay, Commissioner Porter, and then we'll come back to Commissioner Command, maybe close us out. Commissioner Porter,
Thank you. I just have a clarifying question. Are you saying that the chair, that we can't even send a letter asking? I mean, of course I understand we can't compel, but we can't even ask?
The motion would be improper because it's outside the realm of the jurisdiction and the scope and the mission of this agency. This agency is about the Blueprint project.
Sure,
infrastructure and economic development. It is not about the fire fee.
I understand. You've answered my question.
Between the city and the county.
Thank you, Madam Attorney.
So it would be improper to do that.
Okay, let's, Commissioner Command, you want to close us out? Are we sitting at we have a motion and a second. Did you accept that? Well, we can't even do that according to our attorney, so. Okay, so Commissioners, if there's no other discussion, we'll go ahead and vote on this, on Commissioner Caban's. Yeah, we'll do a roll call. Go ahead.
Mayor Daley?
No.
Commissioner Matlow?
Aye.
Commissioner Porter?
Aye.
Commissioner Richardson?
No.
Commissioner Williams-Cox? No. Commissioner Caban?
Aye.
Commissioner Cummings? Commissioner Maddox? Commissioner Minor? No. Commissioner O'Keefe?
No.
Commissioner Proctor?
Yes.
And Commissioner Welsh?
Yes. All right, so the motion passes, Commissioners. Of according to the weighted vote. All right. Thank you for your healthy discussion on that. We are still in commissioner discussion items. Commissioner Porter, then Commissioner O'Keefe.
Thank you. I would like to make a motion requesting that the chair send a letter to the IMC that they attend these meetings.
Second?
All right, we have a motion from Commissioner Porter and a second from Commissioner O'Keefe.
Mr. Chair,
I believe we've established that we can't do that.
that question has been asked at previous
Yes, ma'am.
meetings, and it's an improper motion.
Okay, so Commissioner Porter, do you want to alter that, or?
Would you be willing in your own capacity to request that they
No,
come
I
to
would
these
not.
meetings?
The
No?
attorney
Okay.
has just informed us that that's not within our ability to do that. So no, in my capacity, I'm still the chair of a collegial board of people. I can't just do things like that. All right.
If I may just say,
Sure.
I'm incredibly disappointed in our county administrator and city commissioner. Well, I'll only speak to the city manager for not being here.
He hears.
Okay,
County
and I
administrators always-
apologize. Typically, you both sit at the front. You're to my back. I apologize. Respectfully, Mayor Daley, you could just tell me instead of laughing in my face. Thank you.
All right, guys, let's try to keep it cordial. Okay, so Commissioner O'Keefe, then Commissioner or you want to talk on this item, Commissioner Proctor?
No.
Commissioner O'Keefe, discussion items.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I want to talk about something, getting it on the record today for the sake of public transparency. It's specifically about our fiscal 2024 audit that we discussed at the May meeting and how our significant deficiency was handled, specifically that being the missing $1 million loan asset that wasn't on the balance sheet, that is now. We were told at the May meeting that from management that we expect no findings, that if there are substantial findings, we'd bring back this to the IA board for review, that if there were significant findings, yes, we would come back to this body and work with the chair to set up that meeting. But unfortunately, what happened was not that. We had audit was issued May 28th with a significant deficiency, specifically described as a significant deficiency related to that asset. And it was sent to the state on May 30th. And then later in June, we got an email that said it had been done. But there was no opportunity for public discussion, for questioning, for commenting, for approving an audit that we were told we did not expect any findings. And a lot of the discussion was on, from my other colleagues, was, okay, well, we'll move forward if we trust there's no findings, no significant findings, but we trust it'll come back. And it did, and it was not in June. And then today, for this meeting, it's not an agenda item. It's buried in a link on page 7. I don't think this is an isolated slip. It fits a pattern that concerns me. Oversight questions and issues get minimized. Oversight is resisted, and the public and the board is often told it's processed, everything's fine. Important details are buried or delayed, and I think that undermines public accountability, which is our job. So I bring this up to put it on record because if management won't bring these findings forward, I will. Oversight for us means the board and the public see the full picture and is transparent, not months later tucked away on page 7, but in a fully transparent way. As I said last meeting, I'm a CPA and I'm an auditor. I know how audits are supposed to go. How this was handled is not how audits are supposed to go. So that brings me to the particular financial item. And you'll remember in 2023, we approved a $1 million grant recoverable. And at the time, we were told that this agency cannot issue loans, unequivocally. We cannot issue loans, and that's why it's a grant recoverable, even though it's being given and has to be paid back on a certain day. Now we have in our official financial records and report a loan receivable. And if the auditors have identified as a loan receivable on our balance sheet notes because that's what it financially is, I wonder, did we violate our authority? And we should find out to make sure we know, are we still in compliance? Do we have any legal issues? Because it is now characterized differently in our financial reporting. And I think we can get a clear answer to make sure we acted within our authority. So, Mr. Chair, I move that our attorney provide a written legal opinion to the board to clarify whether we had the authority to approve a $1 million grant recoverable, given that it is now recorded as a loan receivable.
We have a motion. Is there a second? Second by Commissioner Porter. We're in discussion on that motion. Do you want to restate that for the attorney?
Sure.
For me?
Sure. Move that our attorney provide a written legal opinion to us, clarifying whether we were within our authority to approve a $1 million grant recoverable that is now categorized as a loan receivable.
Okay. Is there any discussion? Madam Attorney, would you
Sure,
like to
yes.
weigh
I mean,
in?
I can certainly address the issue now. I have read that portion of the act for the final report. And I can say that we were in our authority to do what we intended to do, which was to provide a recoverable grant to Cascades Garden. Obviously, we don't do loans. OEB is not a lending institution. The agency is not a lending institution. And I think the report did a pretty good job of capturing what the intent of the agency was, which was to provide a recoverable grant. But given the circumstances and the facts of this case, where you had a recipient who wanted to give a portion of those funds back to the agency, the question really became, how do we treat that? And if you look at the report, I did print out portions of that just in case the matter came up. But on page 88 of that report, you know, the auditors reached out to us and asked us to explain what, you know, what the facts were. And they, you know, clearly captured, and I will quote, they said the agency interpreted the agreement, that's the agreement between the agency and the recipient, as a recoverable grant, in which a grant expense would be recorded in the first year and a grant revenue would be recorded in some future year, as was the intent of the agency's board upon approving the grant agreement. So in my opinion, and I'll give that legal opinion to you now, the board was within its authority to do the grant as it intended. The issue became, how do we treat that for accounting purposes? Obviously, I'm not the accountant. I don't handle that aspect of it, but we do respect our auditors. They saw it a different way and wanted it booked as a loan receivable, which was done. And that was the only deficiency that was found in the entire review that they did of the agency's finances for the fiscal year 2024. If you notice on page 88, there was some corrective action that they recommended, which is for the attorney and the finance officer to consult with them in advance for, you know, circumstances that are similar like that in the future. So hopefully that answers your question. I don't think the agency did anything wrong. Their intent was to provide a grant to support economic development in this community, and that money was used in accordance with the Florida statutes, which was to support economic development that benefits this community.
All right, Commissioner O'Keefe, I think that kind of answered your question in terms of a letter. She said that in the record, so you want to alter or change or go ahead with what you had?
No.
Okay, go ahead.
Thank you. What I'd like to point out is that on page 88, what was just read was the cause, which is the problem in a finding. If you continue to the next paragraph, which is the effect, which is the result of the problem in the finding, this resulted in an audit adjustment to correctly record the loan receivable on the balance sheet and reduce expenditures as of September. So I understand the point of asking for a written legal opinion is so that if this comes up in the future, we have it documented, all the statutes are referenced, and it doesn't have to be figured out on the spot. So that's the reason for it. That's also the reason for asking for a written opinion to be done on the attorney's time, and come back to us, because that way it doesn't take everyone's time to debate it. That's all I have.
All right, Commissioner O'Keefe, thank you. Commissioner Matlow, then Commissioner Proctor.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I support the motion just because I'd like more clarity on what a recoverable loan or a recoverable grant is. I had never really heard of that before this board. I did have two questions. What fiscal year do we anticipate recovering that money?
Under the agreement signed by the recipient, it is the funds, the $1 million is due by December of 2027.
Okay. And my second question, we adopted a meeting schedule of 4 meetings again. And my comments when we first brought this up, are we anticipating having these findings before us and their completion before we're asked to send them off again? I don't quite remember how we ended up in that position last time, but are we making sure that's not going to happen again?
Yes, Commissioner. As directed by the IA board, we moved the May meeting to June, and that will provide sufficient time so that there'll be a completed report, not a draft report at the next year.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Matlow. Commissioner Proctor.
Mr. Chairman, I wanted to speak to this motion, but is this commission time you are giving?
Yes, sir. We're still on Commissioner O'Keefe's item in his discussion time. Do you want to get in the
I
queue?
think that Commissioner Dawson, for me, has been tight and right in her remarks all day. There are people who think that I don't like Attorney Dawson. I just don't like her. And I don't know how anybody got that idea, but she explained very well. The questions, I think, Commissioner O'Keefe, and I wish semantically I could integrate the way she did, but I heard the answer, and I'm comfortable with the answer she gave. And that's why I won't support what's being asked. I thought she did a fabulous job in her explanation.
Thank you, Commissioner Proctor. All right. Oh, Commissioner Richardson.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I was reluctant to speak on this, but I am because I heard the response that the attorney gave. It was clear to me, as it was you, Board Member Proctor. But what I'm disappointed in is that this would be challenged or questioned when we had a businessman, a very successful businessman, accept a $1.8 million grant and voluntarily agree to give back $1 million of that grant. And he is investing in a part of our community that so many have not. And so I think rather than challenge, this goodwill gesture of his, we ought to be supporting him in what he's trying to do in building economic development in a part of town that has been neglected for years. And I support him in that, and I hope that we will do that going forward. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Chair. All right, Commissioners, we've got a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
Aye.
No. I don't think it passes.
Roll call.
You good with that on the voice vote?
I'd rather have
Roll call?
roll call so we can record it
Sure.
properly for the minutes.
All right, can we have a roll call, please?
Mayor Daley?
No.
Commissioner Matlow? Aye. Commissioner Porter?
Aye.
Commissioner Richardson?
No.
Commissioner Williams Cox?
No.
Commissioner Caban? Commissioner Cummings?
No.
Commissioner Maddox? No. Commissioner Minor? Commissioner O'Keefe?
Yes.
Commissioner Proctor?
No.
And Commissioner Welch?
No. All right,
Mr. Chair.
can it wait until we get to your discussion time? Okay. All right, Mayor Daley, I think is next, and then Commissioner Proctor, you in?
Yes, sir.
And please let me know if you want to get in on discussion time. It's 4:09. Mayor Daley.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I was wondering if we can get the attorney to provide us an update on the legal dispute between Matlow versus Blueprint Intergovernmental Agency.
If I may.
Yes, ma'am.
Chair. Yes, Mr. Mayor. So the latest is that the case is essentially has been dismissed with prejudice, which means that Mr. Matlow, as the petitioner, cannot bring the case back to the court. Mr. Matlow also did not appeal the dismissal by the court of his case. So for all intents and purposes, the case is concluded and ended in Blueprint's favor. In terms of the costs that have been expended, we have filed an order with the court that Mr. Matlow, through his counsel, agreed to have entered that will allow Blueprint to recover $2,150 some odd dollars of court costs that have been expended. We have decided not to pursue the attorney's fee, which is north of about $60,000 because of the high threshold, the high requirement it is in which to seek the attorney's fee. We would have to prove that the case is frivolous, and that may be extremely difficult to do. Not only that, but if we fail, then we would incur additional attorney's fees. But we are looking forward to the entry of an order which would require Mr. Matlow to pay the agency back for its court costs.
Follow-up question.
Yes, sir.
So we spent $60,000 of public tax dollars to defend this body. We will recover only $2,000 through Mr. Matlow.
Unless he voluntarily decides that he wants to pay the $60,000 plus in attorney fee. I believe the exact number is about $65,000 in the attorney fee alone. Certainly, you know, if he chooses to voluntarily contribute to reimbursing the agency for that, that would be appreciated. But absent, you know, basically proving, which is a high bar, proving that the lawsuit was frivolous, we are entitled to get our court costs, which we are indeed seeking and waiting for Judge Cooper to enter that order any day now.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. That's all I have.
Thank you, Mayor Daley. Commissioner Proctor, your
Thank you,
time.
Mr. Chairman. I wanted to thank staff for a really good 2025 annual report. At this stage of my life, I appreciate a lot of pictures. And y'all laughing, but you're going to get here one day, trust me. And I like these pictures and all like that. I can stick with that. I wanted to say that with respect to project on page 11, Monroe Adams Corridor Placemaking, that I believe that the intersections highlighted with Pershing Street, Harrison Street, Jennings Street, Perkins, and Kessner Street, that right there should be a lot more energy. I think that we've sacrificed the south end of Monroe Street long enough. And as I look at page 12 and look at the North Monroe Gateway, and Commissioner has done a great job lobbying for the North Monroe Gateway. But it's the same street, got the same mama and daddy. It's just that the part on the south side is nowhere close in the picture, in the look, atmosphere, the nighttime ambiance, the lights. I wish that South Monroe could look as good as North Monroe Gateway. And in the coming near future, that we get busy there. Also wanted to comment on page 12, Capitol Circle Southwest. That whets my appetite, that construction of Capitol Circle Southwest. But I believe, Commissioners, that we need a vision applied to Capitol Circle Southwest, coming from Bluntstown Highway, going back over to Woodville Highway. What I mean there, you look at some intentional property zoning that's going to get hotels, going to get restaurants, going to become a vibrant part of energizing community, complementing an international airport. And I'd love to see a project, Capitol Circle South project with a special panel designated, special committee designated. What do we want this to be? Not just a widened road, but what will accompany that road in terms of commercial services. And then, Commissioners, on this airport gateway, page 14, I looked at the bullets, 4 of them, and I'm not altogether clear that there's a mandate for the airport gateway. And the last time It's just, I'm in the fuzzy zone with respect to gateway, which gateway, is FSU on board? Is FSU not on the board? Is we going with the 84 million? Is we going with the 122 million? It's in the book as a report, but it's not settled in my mind. Then finally, commissioners, I look at page 14, fairgrounds beautification and improvement. I believe that the fairgrounds, we should suspend and hold up temporarily fairground efforts, beautification and stuff. I simply don't understand. If we put $30 million in the fairground with the understanding that appears to be the understanding of the current board, it's not clear what level of transparency there is. It's not clear what voice we would have in decision-making. It's not clear that there is an understanding that this would be a public facility, and with $30 million, even more of a facility. And I think that currently with the current lease, it's just not, it's not up to par. And I would like for us to bring back, for our staff to bring back some new looks at the fairground. I'm not willing to put $30 million into something that we, the city and the county, we have no voice. I need to complain right here and to say, I don't know how much popcorn, candy apples, I don't know what is sold. Everybody that comes down there pays that fair association some money to get a spot there. You have to rent every chair, every table, every microphone, everything you do there, you pay for it. I know because I hold an event typically most times annually or community kickoff. You buy insurance to cover the public if anybody gets hurt, and we never get a report. Now, Leon County's name is on the fairground, has been, but that is not under the auspices of Leon County's government. We don't get a final report. We don't know what's going on, and they pay $1, and they have gun shows, car shows, boat shows. The AKA is going to have a dance out there, show, boots on the ground. Going to pay a lot of money, but we will not get that report back. And I'm uncomfortable right now, commissioners, that it's reported here that it's what we're going to do in the beautification improvements, and we're going to construct new community buildings with meeting space, and get this, and restrooms, and improve parking around Gene Cox and the other things that it tells us and it notates for us. But I'm not willing to do that, commissioners. I hope that you're not willing to do that under the current agreement. Something is not right. And half that board done quit because that board, in terms of core values, obviously the board members no longer believe in the core values. And until we are clear about core values, in particular transparency, retaining control, and when people have been sitting on property that ain't put a bathroom in there since Moses was a little boy, that's low vision, okay? No improvements. They just waiting on us to put $30 million down for them to put a middle finger in our face and tell us we don't have no oversight, no nothing. No. So I make a motion here that our staff be afforded greater clarity with respect to that lease, county's role, what the blueprint possibilities are before we stick $30 million down to folk who I'm not clear about why we would improve somebody else's dirt that's going to be around till 20 and 65 for $1 a year. This don't make sense. So I make that motion to give our staff the wherewithal to look into this, for our role to be protected and our voices to maintain public decorum and standards of sunshine on the fairground.
Thank you, Commissioner Proctor. Is that, y'all have clarity on that motion? No, okay. I was gonna, and I'm speaking on your commission time, if that's okay, because I was gonna bring it up too. Can you help us frame that in a way that gives you guys what the direction you need in terms of clarity, Director Calder?
Yeah,
I heard you mention the lease, and interpreting that, that's within the purview of the county attorney, and she and her staff are certainly well capable of doing that. So we will not get in front of Chastity Osteen and her staff. She, obviously will provide that legal analysis for the county.
right, okay. So what I've heard is that we would suspend the blueprint project until the IA board has an opportunity to discuss an agenda item that we would bring back. That agenda item would include the status of the blueprint project, a little bit of history on that. We would work with the county attorney's office to be able to outline any information about the lease. And then we would use what's available to us in a public manner regarding the nature, the setup of the fair board, how they're organized, and maybe some of the statutory guidance that governs their activities.
Well, I appreciate what your response has been. And if we're waiting for the county's attorney, I intend to lift this up. And Mr. Chairman, I imagine you will do so on Tuesday as well. But I ain't willing to put $30 million on somebody's property that ain't mine, period. And for whatever this arrangement is, it needs to be rearranged. We ain't gonna put $30 million somewhere and we're just another stranger on the street. So to the extent that we tighten up the governance, because the fair been down there for 1,000 years, they ain't put $50 on improving nothing. And then gonna wait on us to do it and we not have a voice retained, can't occur. In public buildings, well, who's gonna be in charge of the public buildings? But we allow for, and I'm willing to wait if Ms. Osteen is the reigning voice of, but while Ms. Osteen may speak to the legal particulars, clearly the $30 million ain't hers. That $30 million is this board's. So that legal thought and our $30 million need to coalesce, come together, and be on one accord. Right now, to me, as I'm understanding, it is not. So that's the nature of what I'm desirous of seeing reconcile,
Thank you,
resolve.
Commissioner Proctor. Before I come to you, Commissioner Williams-Cox, obviously, on your point, I share the concerns that Commissioner Proctor has, and so I think you guys have enough clarity with his motion in terms of what you can do. My understanding is that a part of the blueprint project was a renegotiating of the lease through the county. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, and we're in the process of doing that. So we're going to be discussing that, I would assume, next week, Commissioner Proctor, and then that can sort of dovetail with you guys bringing back an analysis on the status of that project and what those investments look like and the master plan and all that stuff. So I think we're in the right posture for your motion to go forth. And we need a second, though, on that motion, don't we?
I'll second it for discussion.
Boom, there we go.
And thank you, Commissioner Proctor. But my question is this. For the public who's listening, I want to make sure it's clear. It's not like we were going to take a $30 million check and take it down and give it to the Fairgrounds Association. That was for development of the fairgrounds for the community. So if, as voted upon by this body, so if we pull back now, who benefits from that? No one benefits from us pulling back. The community will suffer longer because I know, Commissioner Proctor, you've been working on doing something at the fairgrounds for a very long time, and we like to do it in your lifetime. But if you're the one who wanted to pause it because you're going to live forever, then
Only to 96. I'm out at 96.
Okay.
Yeah.
But in all seriousness, what does the Fairground Association, what benefit do they get out of the blueprint project that we were planning to do there? I mean, what financial benefit do they get? What are they getting?
If I may.
Yeah, go ahead.
All right, thank you. Well, the bluepreint project is to beautify and improve the fairgrounds. The IA board, about a year and a half ago, approved a master plan, which presented a long-term vision for how this South Side asset could really be leveraged to be even better for the South Side. The investments that were included within that project in the master plan included improvements to the infrastructure. I think one of the reasons that the bathroom hasn't been able to be modified ever is because the sewer and the water lines are too small to be able to support the additional needs. So the investment that we would make would improve the infrastructure there, which would allow them to be able to make some improvements to the bathroom in the future. It also included improving the bathroom on the blueprint as a part of the blueprint project. It also included the construction of a covered pavilion in the community room, which the fair could use to expand the number of events that they could have. So it could improve their opportunity to have educational IFAS-style events and livestock training and things like that they do. So they would be able to increase their revenues by having additional events, types of events that they could have at the fair. It includes beautification from a landscape perspective, but also just visibility along Monroe Street that they would benefit from. Let's see, what else do we have? Oh, master stormwater. I mean, there are a lot of different infrastructure style improvements that they would benefit from. The master plan that we're looking at gives them an increase of about 500 additional parking spaces, which of course could help to support additional.
So I guess I thought that at some point we were talking about acquiring the fairground and them moving somewhere else. The association moving to somewhere else. Did I miss that something?
Before we presented the master plan to the board, we provided an agenda item that included the cost of relocating the fair to another site, and that was cost prohibitive. Would have used more than what was available at the project budget at that time. And so the IA board made the decision to keep the fair at the fairgrounds and then develop a master plan that works for both the county and Blueprint and the city, as well as the fair.
And as I recall, all of the land space there would not have been needed for the fairground, because we even looked at, for the fair that would be coming, we looked at housing, some housing, we looked at some sporting events. We've talked about convention meeting space, all of that, all of those kinds of things out there as well. Would that also be a financial benefit to the Fairgrounds Association or the Blueprint, to the community? Or I'm just trying to figure out, if we're going to hit pause, what are we pausing on and what's going to be the fallout from that?
Well, where we are now in the project is we've been working with the Fair Association to refine the master plan into a concept plan. We've been meeting with them all summer, actually, to work on that. And we're very close to completing that. Once that concept plan is finalized as a draft, it would move into the lease negotiation phase with the county. So the county would really take over with the lease negotiations. The concept plan may be modified through that process, but that's negotiations, right? Mm-hmm. So the Blueprint dollars would not actually, we don't anticipate spending the Blueprint dollars on that property until the lease negotiations are finished. Okay. So you're really looking at, I would probably say, a 6-month process for the lease negotiations. So say you're looking at the end of spring.
Mr. Proctor.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This issue is, why does the public owe the fairground $1, a property that they pay $1 for 107 acres? And why is it that they can sell all the boat shows, car shows, gun shows, and make millions and millions of dollars, and the county can't get but $1? I know this is not your question. This is just rhetorical. And I don't understand why we owe the fairground $30 million worth of improvements for them to rent out these new facilities, and they keep all the money. We don't get none, and we ain't got no say and don't know what the hell is on their books and how much they are recovering or distributing. This idea about watch is but one idea that, pricks our interest and curiosity. That's small. The bigger question is how large a milieu of monies and how it's kept, and on the computer, not computerized, is it ticket sold? How they keep up with stuff? I really don't care about their, how they don't keep up with stuff and all like that. But I don't think we owe them $30 million. Why not give the Urban League $15 million? They 501c3. Why not give the NAACP a billion if you could just look for 501c3 and give them $30 million. So there's a number of 501c3s that we could do a lot and give them some blueprint money. But we're giving the Fair Association, and they don't even give us a damn, not even a damn response, that we can get and no accountability or transparency. Something wrong with that, and I'm just not feeling this right now, but I'm willing to wait, Mr. Chairman, until Tuesday with other inquiries of the county's attorney. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Proctor. Commissioner Minor, did you want to comment on this, or are you waiting on? Perfect. All right, we've got a motion from Commissioner Proctor. Oh, sorry. Yeah, I don't know. Go ahead, Commissioner Maddox.
There's a motion on the floor that we suspend funding temporarily.
I think it was more like just an information item to come back.
Information, but
on
that
this
we not
situation.
move forward to do anything until we're clear about this governance issue.
I don't think we're in a posture to spend any money right now anyway, so it's just kind of an information item at the next meeting.
Governance.
And then we have a discussion at our meeting, well, we may on Monday.
I believe today, especially during discussion time, we have talked a lot about city and county business that should be handled at the city and county level instead of blueprint business. This issue that we got is an issue between the county and the fairground. Fire services issue between the city and county. This is blueprint. This is not either one of those entities. Now, I don't want to slow down. I do understand Commissioner Proctor's comments. I understand them make perfect sense to me. I don't want to slow down the progress that we're making on the fairgrounds and the process that we're in. You said we're not looking to spend any money anytime soon, correct?
We have a consultant under contract that is helping us to develop this modified, this refined concept plan. And we have been working and paying that consultant throughout this summer. We anticipate closing that with the fair, this phase of this, with the fair probably within the next
Would that be affected
6 weeks.
by this motion?
If you want me to suspend the activities on the project, then I would not continue that
Yeah,
process.
no, I can't vote for that motion. I like the idea. If you want the analysis to come back, so be it. I don't want to slow down the process. We have worked too long, too hard to try to get the fairgrounds moving, and for us to suspend activity right now based off of something that the city and county, the county is going to have to handle with the fairgrounds, to me is unfair to the whole process. So if we're looking to just bring back analysis, I can support that. But if you're going to suspend everything based off of, I can't support that.
So just for clarity, we are not asking, Commissioner Proctor's not asking you to suspend funding the concept plan development. He's just asking for an informational item. And in the meantime, we will have we will have a discussion at the county about the lease agreement, and those things can coincide, I think, fairly well.
Mr. Chair, he literally just said suspend funding. That's what he said.
Okay. Clarify.
I can speak for myself. We ought to suspend, would not write another check what the consultant is doing is external ideas not captured by this board, the Fairground Board. Fairground Board, who appoints them? The Florida Board of Governors? Who appoints them anyway? I don't even understand that. What's qualifications to be down there and run stuff and all like that? We don't know. And is we about to put $30 million in people not qualified to run $30 million worth of new facilities? There's some stuff need to be clarified, and I don't think that we should designate any monies to, do they even have a quorum of a board right now, given the numbers of resignations? I don't know. So Commissioner Maddox, all due respect, and no one wants to see an indoor bathroom in their lifetime at the fairgrounds more so than myself. Nobody, I don't think. But at the same time, I'm not willing to fast forward that. It ain't never happened, and it can wait a little bit till we get clarification. Is this board functional? Is it dysfunctional? Does the Florida Board of Governors appoint for who appoints them? Can we get some folk on there? We don't have anyone from the Board of County Commissioners on their board, but we have members of the Board of County Commissioners serving on the Tourist Development Council. City has members on the Tourist Development Council, Public Safety Council, and you go down the list. But we about to put $30 million someplace that none of us, either board here, commission here, has representation. I think these things should be modified. And Attorney Dawson, to the concept of unjust enrichment, they are receiving an unjust enrichment of which Fairground is being enhanced and making more and more, and will get those public facilities, brand new facilities, charge FAMU, FSU for conferences, and we don't even have a voice or vote. I know y'all think better than that now. I mean, come on. And I'm asking us to find our tallest intellectual angels and allow those to abide. And Commissioner Maddox, I believe that sometimes you got to hold up. I mean, your kids know you mean business when you don't give them an allowance, right? Right. That's what I'm saying.
All right, Commissioner Matlow.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So for clarity, right now, what's being done with the consultant is a concept plan? That's the stage.
That's correct.
Okay. And is there any stage where this would have to come back to the board to move into design or build?
The IA board has already authorized the design, so we do not need to come back for that. I do think we would need to come back for construction authorization. We do not have that authorization from the IA board. The Board of County Commissioners would be involved in the lease finalization.
Okay. So without taking action today, this would move forward into the design phase after the concept plan is done. Those funds would start to be expended.
We would wait for the lease to be completed because we wouldn't want to expend any funds on an unknown. So we would wait for the county to finish the lease process before we started design.
And what's the timeline on that? Do we know?
Yeah, I think we would be looking at next spring for the lease to finalize. So we're starting design next spring.
Okay. And we meet November 6th? Is that correct? Okay. I'll support the motion on the table to have the item come back and delay while those lease negotiations are ongoing. I think those should be finalized before we move forward with expending a significant amount of funds on this. Thank you.
All right, we've got a motion and a second. Is there any other discussion on the item? I guess we'll have a roll call, Madam Attorney.
But just for clarity.
Okay.
So this is an informational item only, correct? Looking at the maker of the motion. It's not to suspend the consultant contract that we have now. I mean, we have an obligation.
No, it's not to suspend the consultant's contract, but it is to hit the brakes on any monies which might go to the Fair Association, any consideration for them to be the stewards over.
Okay,
We're
there
not
would
giving
not
them
be
money.
any funds at any time going to the Fair Association.
Okay, we're not giving them stewardship over any of these.
Regardless of what happens with this, there's
Right.
nothing going to the
Okay,
Fair
informational.
Association.
Yeah, information.
And we're a long way from design,
Very
and
good.
we're even
Very good.
further away from
Very
construction.
good. Very good.
There's just so many other steps
Yeah.
that have to
My concerns is to the interfacing of the power, the control, who's large and in charge, who's the big baller and shot caller. That's what I'm interested in.
All right, so this is an informational only item. We have an existing contract with the consultant to finish the concept plan. This does not interfere with that existing contract, correct?
Exactly.
If this passes, okay.
All right, we got a motion and clarity and a second. Do we want to do a roll call or we want to just call it? Okay, Madam Attorney, roll call, please.
Mayor Daley?
No.
Commissioner Matlow?
Aye.
Commissioner Porter?
Aye.
Commissioner Richardson?
No.
Commissioner Williams Cox?
That's the second, yes. I mean, we'll go with it.
Commissioner Caban?
Yes.
Commissioner Cummings?
Yes.
Commissioner Maddox?
Yes.
Commissioner Minor?
Yes.
Commissioner Proctor? And Commissioner Welch?
Yes. Passes. All right, Commissioner Proctor, you got anything else in discussion time? We got 21 minutes and Commissioner Minor is in the queue.
Mr. Chairman, again, I wanted to compliment staff. Good report, all of these things. I think that with respect to the southwest development, it should be a focal point that we maybe get a team of blue ribbon panel to look at how we fill in the coloring pages of each of those lots and looking at commercial zoning and its possibilities to accompany the widened road, that part. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Commissioner Proctor. Commissioner Minor.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'll be as brief as I can because I know we're constrained for time. I'm going to talk about some good news. As you all know, in February, we had the Magnetics Conference in Tallahassee, hosted by the City of Tallahassee and the community here. And I want to congratulate Keith Bowers for doing all the work, he and his OEV team for doing the work to bring them here. And as you know, I think the community overall did an incredible job making every attendee feel like this whole entire community was supporting this conference. FSU and the City of Tallahassee unveiled the world's largest magnetically levitating, yes, exactly, Maggie. And so successful was that conference, and I think you all have heard this before, that the conference will be hosted again in Tallahassee for a second year in a row, March 3rd through 5th, 2026. So congratulations again for Keith and the OEV team for working so hard on that. In addition to that, in today's Tallahassee Democrat, you've got a new story about the Magnetic Capital Research Advisory Council, which has got a lot of the community leaders as well as people from the Mag Lab and FSU on that council that are going to meet quarterly to talk about bringing businesses here to Tallahassee to help foster that magnetics industry cluster that we've been talking about for years. Not just simply bringing businesses here, but also focused on developing startup companies here in Tallahassee and Leon County that would either be at Innovation Park or nearby. These are great developments. I'm bringing this up and I'm taking time because one of the most important things we can be doing for economic development in this community is to focus on cultivating that industry cluster for magnetics technology here in Tallahassee. At the Innovation Park or surrounding Innovation Park, it's one of the most important things we can be doing. And so I want to emphasize that. I don't have a motion, but I wanted to focus on that because as a board, we need to always be focused on everything we can do to help OEV, to help this community, to help that new advisory council with bringing companies here and helping to foster startup companies within that industry. Should there be something, Mr. Bowers, throughout this fiscal year or coming up in the next few months where you think maybe we can do something to supplement the work that you're doing, whether it's a budget amendment for hiring a new consultant or something like that to bring, to recruit companies to come here, anything that we can do to increase the odds of having that industry cluster start to develop, I'm all in favor of, and I can't speak for my colleagues here, but I suspect that they would be too. So I want to spend a couple minutes and really focus on that because we don't do it often enough. So, thank you, Mr. Chair. That's all I have.
Thank you, Commissioner Minor. All right, I'll just wrap up real quick and say I'm glad Commissioner Proctor touched on the report. We kind of glazed over that in consent. Great job to our staff. Great pictures, great information, excellent annual report. Thank you all for putting that together. I appreciate it. And that's all I've got. Is there anything else? Seeing nothing, Commissioner Cummings?
Yes, very, very briefly, Mr. Chair, thank you so much. I certainly want to thank Commissioner Maddox Commissioner Minor for just emphasizing the economics for our area. I want to thank Keith Bowers and OEV, economic vitality. I think it's on all of our minds, and I think we need to do everything we can to be very supportive. I also want to just congratulate Blueprint and OEV for all the accolades that you all received in 2025, all the awards they've documented it in the information that they have provided to us, but it's just phenomenal, just great job. We've got projects that are completed. We've got others in the pipeline, others almost completed. It's just great for the infrastructure here in Leon County. And I'm looking forward to the celebration, the Cascades Appreciation Luncheon that you all are sponsoring later on this month. So I just thank Blueprint staff. We certainly appreciate our attorney. Great meeting, Mr. New Chair, and certainly appreciate the work that our most previous chair, Commissioner Williams Cox, did as our chair. And just want to point out too, I appreciate our county administrator that's here. And most of the time, Commissioner Porter, he's here. He might not be up front. He's always in the back, so he's always here. Thank you. Thank you, Mr.
Thank
Chair.
you, Commissioner Cummings. Okay.
Chairman?
Yes, sir.
I just wanted to bring to everyone's attention, Commissioner Williams Cox and I serve on the Tourist Development Board together, and just wanted to bring everybody's attention to the fact that we will be hosting the World Cross Country Championship right here in Tallahassee at Appalachia Regional Park. Now, you talk about additional revenue, that's going to be some additional revenue in terms of that penny sales tax. So there's some details still to be worked out, but we're 4 months away. Over the next couple of months or so, you should start seeing some marketing and advertising for that event. It's going to be huge. And I'm sure that Carrie and her staff at the TEC would welcome your participation and help in promoting that event.
Yes, sir. We're pumped about it for sure.
Mr. Chairman.
Yes, sir.
I serve on TDC with Commissioner Richardson and Commissioner Williams Cox as well.
Sorry, Commissioner.
And we're going to have a serious blowout at a downtown get down.
A good blowout.
Yeah, I mean like 77 to nothing. I mean, I'm talking about, not that, no, we're going, but I don't know if we have any local distance runners. These folks is coming all around the world to get the gold medal in Tallahassee. And we was hoping that Commissioner Maddox would represent the county. I don't know who the city gonna put up to represent them, to represent the local flavor. But we're gonna have a downtown get down here, downtown, and something of a reception nature that beckons all of these national guests to be a part for at least a couple of evenings, integrated into the ambiance of Tallahassee. So hopefully, city and county, we'll have our best manners, and we probably have a ceasefire over whatever it is. We need to act like we got some sense. We just want to act like we's a all-American county, equal to our all-American city.
It starts now because they're watching us now.
Okay, well,
what we're seeing now.
Well, let's agree to cease and desist looking crazy. So we're looking forward to those boots on the ground and things like that. So that's all I had to say.
All right. Thank you, Commissioner Proctor. Commissioners, we're going to take a 12-minute recess, and we'll reconvene at 5 o'clock. All right, Commissioners. We are going to start our public hearing on the proposed 2026 operating budget and 5-year capital improvement program budget for the Blueprint IA. This is item number 5 on your agenda. This is the second and final public hearing on the budget. The first public hearing was held during the Citizens Advisory Committee meeting on August 28th, 2025. At this time, we will hear from members of the public wishing to comment on the budget. Mr. White, do we have any speakers?
We do not have any speakers.
Thank you. All right. So are there any presentations by staff on this item?
Yes, Chairman, we do have a brief presentation on this item.
Perfect.
Directors, this item is the second and final public hearing on the budget. As you recall, you all held a workshop on May 8th of this year, and at the meeting following the workshop, you ratified the actions that you took at that workshop. This budget before you reflects the actions that y'all took and ratified. The first public hearing on the budget was with the Citizens Advisory Committee. That was on August 28th. The balanced budget before you reflects the actions you ratified, continues progress and momentum on infrastructure and economic development projects, and it includes 2 new economic development programs as you directed at the workshop and ratified. That's the Air Service Incentive and Capacity Improvements Program, as well as the Affordable Housing Gap Finance Incentive Program. Keith will talk a little bit more about that in a moment. The budget also reflects a decade of IA board direction, including past project prioritization, blueprint infrastructure implementation plan, the economic development strategic plan, and the targeted industry study. The fiscal year 2026 budget allocations include an investment of over $101 million into the community. As shown in Resolution 2025-02, the fiscal year 26 allocations include approximately $97.43 million for the infrastructure program. This funds annual allocations for sidewalks, water quality, the operation of parks constructed with blueprint funds, transit, bike routes, and greenways. It also has funding which will be coupled with a planned bond that will come back to you for approval at a later date to advance construction of major regional mobility and gateway projects. The fiscal year 26 budget allocations include approximately $3.92 million to fund committed business expansion agreements and economic development projects, the Competitive Project Fund, and the Future Opportunity Leveraging Fund, also known as BOLF. Resolution 2025-02 includes the fiscal year 26 through 30 capital improvement program. This includes approximately $148.89 million to continue implementation of infrastructure projects. This leverages approximately $324 million in state funding from the Department of Transportation to advance state roadway improvements. The 5-year CIP also includes approximately $21.58 million in economic development funds for the Competitive Project Fund, incentive grants and programs that includes the Air Service Incentive and Capacity Improvements Program, as well as the Affordable Housing Gap Finance Program, and then approximately $2.84 million for the FOLF over the next 5 years. The fiscal year 26 operating budget, which is in Resolution 2025-01, maintains operating at current staffing positions. It reflects a 4% cost of living adjustment in line with what the city has proposed, 1% lower than what the county has proposed, so it's in line with both the actions of the city and the county, and is a continuation of the approved fiscal year 2025 budget with no significant changes. I'll now turn the presentation over to Autumn and Keith to highlight what your approval of the proposed budget means for community impact.
Thanks, Artie. Today, I want to just highlight some of the blueprint projects that we have been working on. And your approval of this budget just continues the implementation of the great work. The projects I'm going to highlight today just kind of scratch the surface. We actually have 24 of the 27 blueprint infrastructure projects that are either underway or completed. Those are the Blueprint 2020 projects. But today I just wanted to focus on a few. But in total, the projects that we're working on and will continue with your approval of the budget provide over 26 miles of roadway improvements, 128 miles of bicycle and pedestrian facilities, 430 acres of new or improved public space, 52 miles of greenway, thousands of trees being planted, and 6 new public parks. These infrastructure projects not only improve the quality of life for our Tallahassee and Leon County citizens, they leverage our unique sense of place to attract new businesses and residents. And investments in strategic infrastructure projects made through the Blueprint program have brought in private sector investment and increased our community's sense of hometown pride. You really only need to look down the hill at the Capitol Cascades Trail to see the evidence. As I mentioned, I'm just going to highlight a few. So let's go ahead and get in. So we'll start with our regional mobility and gateway projects. 3 big roadway projects underway. Northeast Gateway has already been in construction since 2023. We just recently, in June, started the construction of the bridge over I-10, which is really exciting because that's the next critical step to get that new interchange, which will have a massive economic impact in our community. Airport Gateway started construction this summer with the southern end of Spring Hill Road. We leveraged a DOT contract in that area on Capitol Circle Southwest to get some pretty low prices there. Airport Gateway creates that beautiful first impression for visitors arriving through our airport and traveling into our downtown. But it also includes 7 miles of roadway improvements, 13 miles of multimodal, and it supports the growth in Innovation Park and provides visibility and the growth of our research to commercialization opportunities that come out of our major universities. Bannerman Road project is in the right-of-way phase with construction anticipated to begin late this year. Again, that's a road widening with multimodal facilities, widening Bannerman from 2 lanes to 4 from Quail Common on the eastern end to Preservation on the western end. You can expect continued construction in these projects for the next 5 years. Roadway projects reduce our commute times and they reduce congestion, which in turn decreases time spent in your car and also vehicle emissions. And as you can see on the slide, Blueprint roadway projects, they always include multimodal, so people have a choice. Fiscal year 25 was marked by the start of construction of 3 park projects and a mountain bike trail. Now in construction, the Orange Meridian Park will be complete by mid-next year. This neighborhood park is part of the larger investments in the South City area, including the city's Southside Transit Center. The Market District Park broke ground this January and will be complete in 2027. This park includes pickleball, children's play areas, as well as a large open space for events, creating and enhancing that unique sense of place in the Market District. The Northeast Park is more recreation focused with baseball, softball, multi-use fields that will be lighted at night. It also includes sand volleyball and more pickleball. It seems to be a theme lately. And we'll finish that project in 2027 as well. And then lastly, this summer we broke ground on a 2.2-mile single-track mountain bike trail, which is going to be a ton of fun. I actually walked it just the other day. And this project is in our southwest part of our community, and it's going to support our community's growing presence as a mountain biking destination. So really the main point for my presentation today is that your approval of the proposed budget will continue the construction of key infrastructure projects across the community. And in fiscal year 26, we'll have 17 projects under construction. And the IA board has prioritized, obtained and incorporated public input, approved concepts, directed design, acquired the right-of-way, and now we're in construction. And it's exciting to be at this stage where we're turning dirt, but we're really looking forward, and I know you are too.
Thank you, Autumn. Directors, I'm pleased to share with you how the implementation of OEV's strategic plan is shaping the future of our economy, ensuring that we're not just reacting to growth, but we're intentionally driving it forward. Evidence of the strategic plan's effectiveness is demonstrated in the 2024 Leading Metro Locations report published by Area Development Magazine, where Tallahassee, Leon County MSA is prominently recognized. In 2024, In the 2024 report, the Tallahassee MSA is ranked number 2 in the South Atlantic region, which is comprised of 6 states: Florida, Georgia, North Carolina, South Carolina, Virginia, and West Virginia. The MSA ranked number 3 among all small metro locations. Those are populations with less than 500,000 citizens. And ranked number 4 in overall metro locations, which is a composite of all the indices and compares Tallahassee MSA to 410 MSAs using 24 economic and workforce indicators pulled from 8 different data sets. So when you stop and really think about that, not only do we compete and show up well when we look at the geographic region, as well as comparing ourselves to other communities of similar size, but on the national stage, we rank number 4. We're in the top 5 when comparing us to all 410 other metropolitan statistical areas. We also rank number 12 in economic strength and number 13 in prime workforce or workforce readiness. These rankings highlight purposeful efforts to expand beyond our traditional anchors of government and higher education and begin stimulating investment in and creating jobs in technology, professional services, and advanced manufacturing. This proposed budget enables the IA board to make additional investments in entrepreneurial initiatives such as Ignite Tallahassee, our local advanced science and technology incubator that serves as a catalyst to fast-track innovation and commercialization. The proposed budget also enables the OEV team to refine the strategic site inventory program in which sites are identified and prioritized based on market demand, infrastructure, readiness, for features such as road access, water and sewer capacity, and access to power. The proposed budget gives the OEV team the resources to continue its role in leading the coordination efforts through the local technology planning team to expand broadband services to unserved and underserved communities. As Commissioner Minor mentioned, after the resounding success of the 2025 Motors Drive Systems and Magnetics Conference, the organizers are excited to return in 2026. Together, we will elevate our community on the world stage, showcasing the innovation, collaboration, and the resources that make Tallahassee, Leon County, no pun intended, a magnet for global companies to invest. In addition to our efforts to attract and recruit companies from across the globe, the proposed budget provides funding to continue OEV's local small business engagement initiatives, like our Love Your Locals campaign, designed to raise consumer awareness of locally owned businesses. Small business engagement activities like the Small Business Development Center Day at the Capitol provide authentic connections with local companies and explore the technical assistance and resources available through OEV. None of these initiatives succeed without the people who provide the talent to drive economic vitality. The proposed budget ensures that OEV can continue cultivating the talent pipeline through initiatives such as Leon Works and World of Works, two immersive career expos that engage nearly 4,000 students and introduce them to a wide range of career opportunities available in Tallahassee and Leon County. These are just a few highlights of the success of the program implemented at your direction. Following your direction, there are two new programs that have been established to further the success of the community. At the May IA board meeting, you directed staff to amend the fiscal 2025 budget to allocate $670,000 to the Air Service Incentive and Capacity Improvements Program and allocate $670,000 per year for the duration of the surtax. This initiative is a prescribed tactic in OEV's strategic plan and directly impacts one of OEV's targeted industries, that being manufacturing, transportation, and logistics. Furthermore, this initiative builds upon your previous investment of $14 million and the existing synergies between the Tallahassee International Airport and OEV, such as developing the foreign trade zone and promoting the activation of airport properties for commercial development. Also at the May 8th meeting, the IA board approved the creation of the Affordable Housing Gap Finance Incentive Program. Through a budget amendment, $250,000 was allocated from the FY 2025 budget for the program and an annual allocation of $250,000 for the duration of the surtax, for a total of $3.75 million. The Affordable Housing Gap Program serves as another resource to assist the city and the county in their ongoing efforts to create more rental housing units for very low and extremely low income households. The Affordable Gap Finance Program helps close financial gaps that often make affordable housing projects infeasible. By bridging the gap, the program supports developers in moving projects forward and strengthens the city and county's efforts to meet the critical housing needs of cost-burdened residents. In closing, these budget allocations fuels OEV's strategic plan, transforming resources into results. Every dollar is invested with accountability and purpose, ensuring measurable returns for our economy and our community. With that overview, I will now turn it back over to Artie.
Thank you, Keith. Thank you, Autumn. Directors, as you can see, this agency at your direction is having a profound impact on the community and improving the quality of life for residents of both Tallahassee and Leon County. The agency is also getting recognized for this. As was mentioned a little bit earlier, in the past year, Blueprint Infrastructure received 5 local and state awards, and the Office of Economic Vitality was internationally recognized with 2 awards. The proposed budget continues momentum on these transformative and award-winning projects. I don't have like 2 more slides. While they work, there it is. In summary, the budget before you is balanced. It reflects your actions from the May 8th workshop as you ratified. It reflects a decade of IA board direction. It continues implementation of infrastructure and economic development projects, and it includes the 2 new economic development programs that were created at your direction. Again, the air service incentive and capacity improvements, as well as the affordable housing gap finance incentive program. And the proposed budget maintains project progress and momentum. The recommended actions are option number 1, which would approve and adopt the operating budget. Option number 2, which would approve and adopt the capital improvements program. And option number 3, which would approve the direct transfers to Leon County and the City of Tallahassee for those annual allocations that I mentioned earlier. Happy to answer any questions y'all may have.
All right, thank you, staff. You guys do a great job as always. Commissioners, would somebody like to make a motion?
Chair, move staff recommendation.
Second.
We've got a motion from Commissioner Maddox for staff recommendation options 1, 2, and 3, and a second by Commissioner Williams-Cox. We're in discussion. I'll start with Commissioner Proctor.
I'm appreciative and actually feeling a little warm and fuzzy. I'm proud of cumulative report card that's been shared. I'm pondering how long can we kiss on Amazon, and I didn't see it lifted up, but it's such a significant add-on to our local economy, and I felt like, when is your rookie season? I don't know if they've been here 1 year, 2 year, 3 years, but I still feel that that was such a significant lift to our region, and would love to have seen it augment any additional reports which might come out, but to augment and special, just so special. As is the magnetic lab, its place in magnets and us being a magnet to the world. It's a facility that is unique in the world of human beings and is worthy at all times of being underscored for its significance. I'm not an expert at magnets. I don't even wear a watch, but pun intended. But nevertheless, we appreciate staff's work. There have been times when, I guess as directors, we wear spurs on our boots, and we try to be intentional about the giddy up, which our staff gallops in a particular direction. And I think that there's been a recovery of an era, that period of stagnation. I don't know if we're transitioning to autumn. I don't know what was going on, but that tailspin, from my perception, it shifted. Our staff is in high gear, organized and purposed, and I appreciate the turnaround and the higher level of synchronized programmatic presentation that I said earlier, and from my one person here at the table, I continue to say again that the Gateway project is still a little fuzzy to me. Not quite clear what the Gateway includes, is, what we agreed on. There are some things hanging, got the fuzzy wuzzies to me. But with the exception of the Gateway, and you never understand 100% everything on the table, but with the exception of the Gateway matter, I'm very, very proud of everything that we've been shown, the direction that we're going, and the momentum that I gather now with this group. So I want to say that, Mr. Chairman and Commissioners, those are my thoughts.
Thank you, Commissioner Proctor. Commissioner O'Keefe, you're next, then followed by Commissioner Caban.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Artie, Keith, thank you for this. it is, uh, it is always good to see the successes coming in, and you just keep hitting. Very, very good to see. That gives me hope that when we update our strategic industry and target industry resource strategy, that if we have new things like community-related needs and that gets in there, you're going to hit those too. And so that gives me hope for that. I am very grateful to this commission, to this board, for creating the Affordable Gap Housing Finance Program and adding $250,000 to that. That's a critical need, and it's less than, I desired when we came in, but it is more than nothing, and that's what we need is, if it's base hits and base hits and base hits, we need it. Everything we can do for the affordable gap housing from this program, and so I thank you for that. And that is why I'll be approving this budget. But I will say, as I do every year since this change, is I'm not comfortable with the new way we've budgeted our allocations in the past 2 years, where we are approving $100 million this year to capital projects, just capital projects. Management can assign that and transfer it between projects how they want without us, without our approval. I don't think that's a good idea, but having that registered, we need this affordable housing, we need some of these other projects. The other thing I like to point out is these numbers are the same from our May meeting, but to put into context, we no longer are provided the total project estimate, which is a big number for reasons our management has told us, but I think it is an important public transparency number. So last year in September, the total infrastructure project cost estimates was $865 million, and currently those estimates are $1.09 million, or a $225 million increase from last year to this year. While we don't get to approve that in our budget anymore, I think it is worth us making sure we know that year over year, those are the cost estimates we're seeing, and those are big numbers, just like an annual allocation that can be fluid among projects of $100 million is something that personally I like to see tighter oversight on, but this is where, as a board, we have gone. So thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner O'Keefe. Commissioner Caban.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Excuse me. When this item came to us in our budget workshop, I voted against it. And reason for is if we took this to a bank and asked for a business loan with a bunch of pictures, they would laugh in our face and turn us down. And I say that because we have no idea how much we're spending on any individual project. And so I'm going to vote against this to be consistent. Do I support a lot of projects on here? Yes. However, it starts with our money, and I think that this is an improper practice for us as a board to continue to approve budgets where we have no idea how much each individual project is spending. Staff still has not secured the land for the airport gateway from the state of Florida, yet we continue to spend money on it over and over and over again. So we can sit here and we can glamor on awards. However, this is just a bunch of pictures. It's not substantive when it comes to dollar amounts and the hundreds of millions of dollars, that taxpayer dollars that we're spending. I appreciate the consistency on the operating budget, because that has a line item budget. That is something that is good business practice. However, when it comes to the infrastructure projects, which is the bulk and the real substance of what we're supposed to do as a board, it's just thrown together in a line item. And I will echo this and I will say this again. We took this to any bank and asked for a home loan, they would laugh in our face and turn it down. And so, I don't think this is staff's fault. This is the direction that this board has given staff. And so I do want to make that clear. I appreciate the work that you guys are doing. I just don't think this is good budgeting practice, and it's not a good precedent that we are setting for taxpayers. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Mr. Williams-Cox.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I want to say thank you to Reese Gold, and to Vince, to Wayne Tedder, to Ben Pingree, to Artie, to Attorney Dawson, to Autumn, and to Keith. It has taken all of you to listen to all of us and synthesize and figure out what the heck we are asking you to do and your staff to, and heck wasn't the first thing that came to mind, to deliver on these projects and to deliver on this information that we're asking you for. My background is information technology. It is not in construction. It is not in auditing. It is not in bank loans or any of that. But what you do is you hire people with those skill sets and that experience, and you give them the guidance, answer the questions, set the policy, be clear, and let them do their jobs. And when they have questions, they come to you to get answers. And you all have done that, and you've done it for years. I remember the long night meetings we used to have with Blueprint when I first got here. And I remember Commissioner Proctor, one of those nights you were frustrated and you said, when are we gonna turn some dirt? I'm tired of all these plans. And well, we're turning some dirt, and we can see the dirt being turned. Well, turning dirt costs money. And if you don't vote for budgets, you can't get the dirt turned so you can turn the dirt next year and the year after. So I appreciate how everybody feels as individuals, but I was sitting here to represent a group of people, 205,000, and in this case, everybody, to make sure that we move our city forward. When I travel around the state of Florida and around this country, people are excited about what we're doing in Tallahassee. But if they attended our meetings or listened to what we say sometimes, they might not be so excited to hear how we get there. But thank God we have people who know how to get us there, and y'all get us there. I appreciate the awards because you didn't give the awards to yourself. Somebody else recognized the work that you're doing, and they awarded us. They're the ones who are helping us to tell our story. We got to tell our story. But the truth be told, some of these meetings have been bloody, but yet we still rise. And that's what our citizens expect us to do. They expect us to come in here, set the policy, give the guidance, and then get out of here and go get the work done. So I thank y'all for what you're doing. I thank you for using your skill sets to make these projects happen. I'm very proud to represent Tallahassee when I go places. You know, sometimes you have to leave Tallahassee to be appreciated, but people really appreciate what we're doing here. They say that, and they tell us that. So it is not me that's turning the dirt, but hopefully I'm helping to clear barriers so that we can keep the dirt turned. And when we're turning dirt, that means that we got an economy where people are earning, they're making money, and they're spending money right back into our economy. I appreciate the investment that is taking place all over our city, but I am especially appreciative of the investments that are taking place on a side of town that has gone for so long without that kind of investment. And so as long as I'm able to say thank you, I'm going to say thank you because y'all making it happen. And I certainly do appreciate it. And the children and the elders who will one day experience what we're planning and what we're doing now will appreciate us. It's not about what we're doing today. It's not about us. It's about the future. And the future of Tallahassee is bright. And it couldn't be the way it is without everybody here doing their part to make it happen. And I thank the top. We're the top. Thank you all for what you do. And I thank the IMC for what you do and those underneath you for all that you do because it takes all of us. I didn't create this structure. I inherited it. And so my job is to try to protect the integrity of it and to keep things moving, keep the trains leaving the station on time. And I think that's what we're doing here. And everybody's doing their level best to do that. So thank you, and thank you.
Sorry about that. The section of Orange Avenue from Capitol Circle Southwest to, I think we said Adams Street at one point. Is that part of a blueprint project? Is that part of the airport gateway?
Okay, the Orange Avenue widening is a Blueprint 2020
Okay.
project, but we have implemented, through the board's direction, a leveraging plan to bring as much state dollars in on state roadway projects. So Orange Avenue is one of those state roadway projects, and you probably know better than anybody at this
yeah.
table that project's currently in design.
Yeah, and I wanted that to be mentioned because I get discussions from so many of my neighbors. What are we going to do with Orange Avenue? Because it is really getting crowded, particularly certain times of day, like before school starts, afternoon, after work. The neighborhood where I live, it's hard to get out of the neighborhood because of the traffic. And so I just wanted to have that mentioned so my neighbors could know that we are moving forward with that project. But I too want to compliment the staff for the work that you all have done. It's been phenomenal. Artie, thank you for the leadership that you've shown in all of this. And of course, our city administrator, Reese Gold, and county administrator, Vince Long, for the work that they have done in providing the vision and leadership. And of course, thank the members of this board, because without you all being willing to fund these projects and support these projects, they couldn't have happened. So again, thank you all for that. And like Commissioner Williams-Cox has said, you know, I've lived on the south side of town for 30 years now, and there are projects that have been completed this go-around that they have been years in the making. I had a young lady just this morning ask, she said, well, when is the park on the south side of town going to get built? When is this Star Metro Transit facility going to be completed? The folk in that area, in that South City area, well, all of us who live in that project are excited about those projects because they've been a long time coming. And now they're happening, and people can see, Commissioner Proctor, as you said, that dirt is being turned, and they're seeing projects coming up out of the ground, and they're very proud of that. So, again, thank you all for what you do, and your work is appreciated and recognized. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Yes, sir, Mr. Vice Chairman. Commissioner Matlow.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. To follow on the Orange Avenue project, how much local Blueprint sales dollars are allocated to that project?
We put $350,000 into a transportation study that was something we did with the CRTPA probably 6 years ago, 5 years ago perhaps. But other than that, we haven't put.
So that project's going to be completely state funded through FDOT and CRTPA?
Mm-hmm. I mean, that's the plan right now. Sometimes if there are things that the Blueprint projects contemplate that are above and beyond what the DOT might do, then we may try to enter into some type of funding partnership with them. But at this time, I'm not aware of any of those.
Okay. I just worry about the future of that project, seeing that it seems Mahan and Capitol Circle are more of a priority coming from the state than what we've seen, and seeing some of these projects fall behind that were meant to be Blueprint projects moving forward. I want to touch on Commissioner O'Keefe and Commissioner Caban's comments. I agree wholeheartedly that these projects should continue to be a line item budget so we actually know the cost and what we're allocating. It doesn't make any sense not to do it that way. If we could fix that today and had the support to fix it today, I would be right there with you. I am right there with you. It's something we'll most likely have to readdress in the future and fix in the future. To Commissioner Proctor, you know, we went to battle on the airport gateway. I still don't understand why we're building a fork and roads are going different ways, and one's going through campus and one's Spring Hill Road, and it's two different paths. That doesn't make sense to me. It doesn't make sense to me to spend $200 million on the Northeast Gateway through the woods on a one private landowner's land with no plans for immediate redevelopment. So there's a lot of issues. that have been well litigated before for this board. So I'm not going to relitigate them today, but I do want to highlight and thank the community members with us today for not giving up. You know, we were told at almost every stop of the way that the mission to provide funding for low income rental housing couldn't be done, and through just sheer perseverance and coming up again and again to this board and to other bodies, y'all made it happen, and you should be applauded for that. While it won't move the needle as much as we would like, it is a great showing that this board has supported that this issue is important to us. We care, we want to move forward. So I will support the budget today, but I did want to recognize the concerns of all my colleagues. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Commissioner Matlow. Commissioner Minor.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And as has been said many times already, I really do appreciate all the work that our Blueprint staff are doing. Artie, Autumn, Keith, our attorney, the entire team at Blueprint really are doing a great job. This stuff is harder than it looks. You know, it's like you get a financial audit presented to us as an agenda item, just as an example, and you see the actual financial audit, but you don't see the hundreds of hours of work and deliverables that we're feeding into that financial audit, which is the final product. And that's similar to what we have here. But so I definitely appreciate that. And I know each of you are working in good faith to serve this community and to do the best job on Blueprint that you can. I do agree, though, with Commissioners Caban, O'Keefe, and Matlow when it comes to the project level line items. As a staff person, I can if I put myself in staff shoes, I can understand. I mean, with the unpredictability of cost increases, by being able to move money around between projects, it gives you a lot more flexibility in a very uncertain world. And I know I just have it on good faith that you all are doing everything you can to maintain the project scopes as much as you can while containing costs, while trying to make sure that each project retains its holistic benefit as what's defined. I know that you do that. All that being said, though, I feel it's an obligation as us as Blueprint directors for us to look at things at the project level. I feel it's an obligation to my constituents that I'm aware of the project line item. And so I'm going to support the motion on the table now. I support the budget. I don't want to vote against the projects that are moving forward, that are going to be doing incredible things for the community. I'm going to support the motion. But at the next meeting, when we start looking at the next budget, I think I'm going to be joining, I will be joining other people here asking for that project line item level of budgetary presentation. We need to know. And there will be cases when, because of a cost component of a project, that project cost increases. But you may have to move some money around between projects. But we need to know that. We need to know that. And I know that's opening up a Pandora's box because that will make it harder for us as directors to learn that news. Some projects might be changing in terms of their scope even to contain costs if we don't have the revenue to match those costs. But that's the type of discussion we should be having. That's what we're here for. And so as we come up on the next fiscal year and we start the preliminary discussions of what next year's budget will be, I want us to go back to that project level line item. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Commissioner Minor. Commissioner Proctor.
Mr. Chairman, thank you very much. I had said previously that as commissioners and policymakers, we were from time to time Spurs. And as Commissioner Williams-Cox pointed out, in those moments of frustration, we were shown pictures, but pictures of what we gonna do. And there's a tremendous distinction in my mind from gonna and done did. Done did is a different operative formation of thought for me, and gonna do. So when I hear a bunch of gonna do, yeah, I raise hell about that. But I compliment our staff because they're not in that tailspin. And what we got pictures of now, the stuff underway, are pictures that suggest what has done. And that's very important. There's no other word more important to a policymaker than done, D-O-N-E, done, that we get it done. And I like that word. It reflects my career, getting it done. In the history of this community, it ain't bragging, Commissioner Williams Coxman, it's true. But no one has spent more local dollars and seen more public money and taken more public votes on projects, multiple millions of dollars for 29 years. I stand alone. But I still have an exacting attitude for precise precision, for efficiency, for effectiveness, for excellence. And if we come to this table, I mean, in the jungle, when two gorillas fighting, they make a lot of noise. When big bears fighting, they make a lot of noise. They're different from when frogs have a fight, squirrels have a fight. And at this table, we're grappling for understanding. And understanding is something that you grapple for occasionally. It just don't fall on 12 minds alike. So to the extent that we clash, Commissioner Williams Cox, it may not look pretty, but our result in this book, that's what we're looking for. The pictures that been done, this right here is what matters. This is what we're grappling for. So we're a lucky community. We're a board where some of us stand taller intellectually than our staff. And then we're a lucky community because our staff stands taller than some of us intellectually. And that's the joy, that's the beauty of what this process is. And there are no two expenditures every year that 29 I've observed that comes down exactly just alike. There is no process that is actually stable and it rotates and it's the same old. No. That's very important. And to the extent that these are giants around this table. When we rumble, we make noise in the jungle. And they may have differed, but Martin Luther King and Malcolm X, outstanding giants. And they made noises, and folk wonder they don't get along. When you get to the bottom of it, they were excellent of thought and spirit in trying to move our country to a posture of embracing the 14th Amendment's equal protection of law for everyone. Marcus Garvey and W.B. Du Bois, two brilliant men, didn't always agree on this, and this, but they were all for the 14th Amendment's equal protection. That's what we do at this table. We're all for Tallahassee, Leon County, growing, moving, blah, blah. So I thank this staff again. If I have pissed off any of y'all and you've been too soft and it hurt your feelings, I'm sorry. I apologize. Wasn't trying to. But what I was trying to do is get to the pictures that you presented. Now, I want this to be a unanimous vote. And I'm asking you, O'Keefe, that our staff can do an addendum to this report and put those numbers there. And you're absolutely right, they deserve. But I just empathize that they thought that we knew because we've gone through these numbers on pages, numbers and magnifying glass. But if you would suffer and allow, they're perfect, they're very perfect, but to perfect on their perfection and to give to us the numbers that you're looking for per each of these projects, the concerns that they've gone 20% above the projection, and should they have just leeway to line item, decide, all of that, I think, can be an addendum. But I think it's important in this moment in time that this board, that our community, that we are together, that we are unanimous. And when the community respects that giants, we fall down, knock each other down, but we get up and we're a team. And I feel that right now, all that's going on with cities I'm refusing to go to Washington, D.C. in 2 weeks to the Congressional Black Caucus. Why? I don't want to go to Washington, D.C. under federal siege and military rule. I went to school there, and I don't want to go back to my hometown, second hometown, under military siege by the federal government. I think it's a time for us, under the concerns that you have, our staff is capable, and I'd like to offer a friendly amendment that makes everyone able to get on board, that we do an appendage that illumines the numbers undergirding each of these, that we can have unanimous. We need to be unanimous right now because we have people across the street that don't give a damn about Tallahassee and this community. We've got to be able to stand up, be unified, disagree, argue, whatever we do. That's what we do. That's what we get paid to do. And it don't have to be pretty, but we ought to aim for what's right. But right now, we're under a whole different element of siege. And I'm asking, because we never know, if we have to go and bond some of these projects in the future, or bond some of these projects, they may laugh now, but those numbers are there to undergird and support that. And I think that it's important that if you do go to a bank to get some money and to bond these projects forward, and that there is disagreement from an outstanding man like Caban and an outstanding man. I mean, you got a businessman and an accountant said the rest of us was just going along, but the businessman and the accountant majored this table disagree. We don't need the two of them to say that the rest of us didn't understand the numbers. They do. So we need them on board for the look that if we bond money in the future on these projects, we would need a unanimous look, in my opinion. So I'm asking for that we do that. Very good. Thank you.
All right, we've got
He made
an
the motion.
amendment to the motion for staff to provide more detail on line item budgets.
I think it's an amendment to include a spreadsheet that includes the cost estimate for each project.
All right. Commissioner Caban, you're up.
One, I appreciate the sentiment. Commissioner Proctor, I appreciate your leadership. I will support the motion. I also think in the future we need an agenda item to come back to change the process where this is a normal budgeting procedure where we have each line item budget. Line item for each project every budget cycle.
Man, how about this?
No, I didn't want to bring that up now. I was just throwing that out there. We don't need to make a motion on it now. But
I'm going to amend it anyway.
Okay, fantastic.
My amendment takes Commissioner Proctor's issue a bit further. This budget here on out, that we'll have line items broken out by estimation of each project, so thereby we have a look at what each project we're voting on, the cost of it associated with. That's my motion on the floor. That's my amendment to my motion.
Go with that?
Whatever it takes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you. Wow, I appreciate it. Mr. Chair.
You're up, man.
I just did one, I appreciate that. I was actually very surprised to see us all be on board with that. That's awesome. I think that's very pleased, and I appreciate it, genuinely. I did just want to say, I was going to respond to Commissioner Matlow, and I believe it was Commissioner Richardson, in regards to the Airport Gateway, the Orange Ave segment. Our office has been working with FDOT on some other projects, in Leon County. That's in my district. That was one of the projects that we have communicated with them on. And they have relayed to us that there's no funding for construction within the current 5-year work program. And so if that's something that we would like to see progressed, I think it's something that we could look at in each individual body, get our lobbying teams on to work with the state to find funding for that portion of the project. I just throwing that out there for a point of information. So thank you, Mr. Chair.
Awesome. Thank you, Commissioner Caban. Commissioner O'Keefe.
I also want to echo my appreciation to all the directors to bring this in. This is, I appreciate it. This is it's the nerd accountant in me, and someone's bringing tears to my eyes. I just appreciate it. This is what we need to do. Thank you.
All right, commissioners, seeing no further discussion, we'll go ahead and do a roll call vote on the motion made by Commissioner Maddox and seconded by Commissioner Williams-Cox. Got it? All right, let's call it.
Commissioner Matlow,
Aye.
Commissioner Porter,
Aye.
Commissioner Richardson,
Aye.
Commissioner Williams Cox,
Aye.
Commissioner Caban,
He's listening. Mayor Daley's ready.
Commissioner Cummings,
Yes.
Commissioner Maddox,
He wasn't ready.
Commissioner Minor,
Aye.
Commissioner O'Keefe,
Aye.
Commissioner Proctor,
Aye.
and Commissioner Welch.
Yes. All right, passes unanimously, Commissioners. Thank you, Commissioner Proctor, for your statesmanship there, guiding us through to a unanimous
Mr.
vote.
Chair, I think we need to take a second to really applaud Commissioner Proctor. This does not happen often. Where Commissioner
Last time it's going to happen.
has ushered us into a unanimous vote. Matter of fact, in my years of being on the board with him, I have never seen this happen. So I appreciate what you did there, Commissioner.
Yes, sir. We need everybody.
All right, is that it? All right, Commissioners, there's nothing else, so thank you all so much for your time. We are adjourned.
Yeah.